Master Borky, Baron Crook has sent you a letter. A man wearing a black coat over a white shirt bowed as he presented an envelope to a black gray-haired man sitting on his chair with a leisurely look on his face. The black gray-haired man grabbed the envelope and chuckled disdainfully. Baron Crook, is he the old fart with that beautiful daughter? Yes, that is correct, Master Borky, the butler nodded. An evil smile appeared on Borky's face as he then clicked his tongue. Tisk, tisk, his daughter was a beauty indeed. It was a shame that the bitch decided to kill herself. I wanted to play a little longer that time. Then Borky sighed. Oh well, whatever happened, happened. We can't do anything about it, can we? But why is this old fart sending a letter to me? Did he have another daughter? Tisk, tisk. Borky then opened the envelope and started reading the letter inside it. Earl Bastard Borky. Oh ho, that's quite a greeting. Who gave him the balls to write like that? Borky muttered in amusement. He wasn't the least bit bothered by how Baron Crook cursed him. Or maybe he was and was just getting excited by thinking about how he will punish that man. Borky then continued reading the letter. I heard about an interesting piece of news, and I must say, Borky bastard, to be daring enough to go after a marquis's son. The more Borky read the letter, the serious his face got. He narrowed his eyes and started reading the letter more carefully. What the hell is this guy talking about? Borky narrowed his eyes in confusion. To joke about something like this, does this old man not want to live anymore? Master Borky, there is something behind the letter as well, the butler pointed out. Borky then turned the paper and his frown deepened. I am not just talking around. If you don't come to the slums in the west at 12 in the night, I will send that letter to Marquis Lange. What letter is he talking about? Borky roared in panic. Master Borky, there seems to be another letter in this envelope, the butler mentioned. Borky quickly opened the other letter, and his eyes widened in surprise. To Earl Borky, the information about Lange's son being in the wilderness was accurate. Do not worry, you will be compensated properly. Alger Bannermane. Borky's face paled in horror. He quickly took out some texts and started matching Alger's writing with the writing in this letter, and soon his body started trembling in fear. What the hell is Marquis Alger talking about? Borky narrowed his eyes in confusion. When did I give him any information like that? The incident of Marquis's son being attacked in the Blood Hill wilderness was quite popular a few months ago. There were many suspicions that Marquis Alger was the one behind this incident. However, since there was proof, the incident got buried. However, Marquis Lange didn't bury this incident at all. It is said that he is searing with anger and buys any information related to this incident at a high price. He is hell-bent on getting his revenge. If this letter reaches Marquis Lange, then no matter how much he pleads, Marquis Lange will kill him. Just thinking about this made Borky tremble in fear. What the hell is wrong with that Alger bastard? He cursed in his heart, and then his eyes turned red in rage. That crook bores a deep grudge against me. From what I know, he would rather deal with me on his own than to take that Lange's help. I don't think he has sent this letter to Marquis yet. I need to deal with him before he thinks anything weird. I need to kill him, then I need to kill everyone living in his mansion. Only then would this letter be buried. Borky clenched his fists in anger and slammed his hand on the table. You want to meet me in the slums, right? Good, good. Let me do you a favor and send you to your bitch daughter then. Borky then started thinking. He was different from other earls. Normal earls have 3 to 4 master stage cultivators under them. He, however, had 10, and he himself was a strong master stage cultivator. Even if that crook bastard had prepared some things to deal with him, there is no way he would predict that he would come to the slums with 10 master stage cultivators. Not only that, but at the same time, Borky would send the rest of his servants to Crook's mansion to kill and burn everything. According to the rules of the kingdom, he cannot have more than 30 cultivators as his servants. However, those 20 servants would be more than enough to deal with a mere barren house. Borky smiled coldly as he planned everything. Then he turned to his butler and ordered, "Call every cultivator. I need them to do something for me." The butler frowned when he noticed the solemn look on his master's face. This looked serious. "As you command, Master Borky." The butler bowed his head and left the room. After the butler left the room, Borky crouched. He then moved his table a little, and then he grabbed a tile. Using a little force, he opened the tile and placed the letter inside it. It was an unspoken rule to not keep valuable letters like these in storage rings, because storage rings are the first things to get confiscated when something wrong happens. Therefore, many nobles had secret places like these where they kept important documents. Borky then placed the table back to where it was and then left his room. He needed to talk with all the cultivators after all. However, what he didn't know was that someone else was inside his room aside from him and his butler. After Borky left his room, Nux smiled. He then took out the letters Borky was hiding and chuckled. "This is going to be fun." Then he followed behind Borky. He needed to know all his plans after all.
Earl Borky was walking inside the empty slum area and was looking around, trying to find Crook. His eyes then fell on a figure sitting on the chair with an elegant posture. Since it was dark, he couldn't see who it was. However, he had a hunch. "Crook?" he questioned. However, there was no answer. "Crook, you old fart, is it you?" Borky questioned again. However, there was no answer. Borky's face twitched in annoyance. "First, you dare try to frame me with a fake letter. Then you dare to call me here, and now that I'm here, you don't even dare to speak. Do you think this is a joke? You old bastard, apologize to me this instant." Borky cursed as he walked towards Crook. However, after he got close, he paused. It wasn't Crook. Rather, it was a beautiful black-haired woman who was looking at him with a cold smile on her face. Felberta Alvi. Borky recognized this woman in an instant. He has rarely seen any woman who is as beautiful as Felberta after all. "Borky, I heard your child has been bullying my child for quite a while now," Felberta muttered with a small smile on her face. Borky's face twitched when he noticed how she was calling him disrespectfully. However, a small smile appeared on his face and he shook his head. "Oh, really? I thought it was just a few children playing together as friends. Didn't seem like bullying to me." "Stop this nonsense. I don't care how you see this situation. I want your children to stop what they are doing," Felberta warned in a threatening tone. However, Borky did not feel threatened at all. Rather, he just chuckled. "Oh, I do have a way we can stop this." "What?" Felberta questioned. "How about our children become brothers? This way, let alone bullying, your son would even be protected by my son in the academy. What do you think?" Borky questioned with a meaningful smile on his face. The meaning of his words was clear. Suddenly, a small smile appeared on Felberta's face. "So you are admitting that your son bullies my son, correct?" Borky smiled as well. "It is not my son's fault that your son is weak and doesn't have a good background. Actually, even if my son doesn't bully him, someone else will. This is how status work, Felberta. This is why I'm offering you, become mine, and let alone your son, even you would live a fulfilling life." Suddenly, Felberta sighed. I have no clue how idiotic people like you become nobles in this kingdom. The future of this kingdom seems bleak." "Huh?" Borki frowned. "Think about this, idiot. You were sent a letter that could potentially destroy your house. You were then called to deserted slums by the man who sent you that letter. There you see that instead of that man, there was a woman who seemed to be sitting and waiting for you. Then the woman talks about how your child is bullying hers, and how do you reply? You threaten her to become yours? Are you that brain dead? Don't you find this situation weird at all?" Felberta questioned, and Borki's frown deepened. "In all honesty, if I were you, I would have tried to act a bit more mature. All right, I will talk to my son about it. All right, I will make sure that my son stops. What? Does he bully your son? I didn't know. Don't worry, I will punish that bastard accordingly, and I deeply apologize for everything he did." Any of answers like these would have been better, but you— A cold smile then appeared on Felberta's face as she glared at Borki. "You just decided to fuck up, huh?" Borki, however, wasn't intimidated. Rather, he just smiled. "You are wrong. This is not foolishness, Felberta. This is confidence. I'm confident that someone like you doesn't have enough influence and power to harm me." Borki then pointed at those 10 men behind him and smiled. "They are all master stage cultivators, Felberta. Master stage cultivators. Surprised, right? Didn't think that I had so many master stage cultivators working under me, did you?" Felberta sighed, even more now. "Arrogant and foolish. Out of all the combinations you could choose, you chose the worst one, huh?" Felberta sighed, and then she pointed at Borki's men. Borki frowned. He then turned around to look at his men, and then Felberta's voice sounded in his ears. "However, this is good for me. Now I can punish you as much as I want without any guilt whatsoever. Welcome to hell, Earl Borki." At the same time, Borki's eyes widened in surprise when a dagger covered in blood came out of his strongest subordinate's chest. At the same time, a few more figures wearing black clothes appeared and started attacking and killing Borki's subordinates. With the assassins getting the first hit, Borki's subordinates stood no chance against well-trained assassins. Within just 1 minute, all 10 of them were dead. The all-strong master stage cultivators that Borki was so proud of were slaughtered without even a chance to fight back. Borki's eyes widened in horror. He was fucked. He knew it. His brain then worked quickly. He turned around trying to grab Felberta. She must be the leader. If he captures the leader, he might have a chance to get out of this situation alive. However, after he turned around, he noticed 2 individuals standing in front of him. They wore the same black-colored clothes that those assassins wore. However, the aura they released was far stronger. Borki then noticed Felberta was already standing far away from him and was looking at him with a cold look on her face. "Do not kill him," she ordered. Borki smiled. "Cut his arms," she ordered. Borki's smile died. "Do not do it in one go. Start from his fingers. Make it as painful as possible. Also, while you're at it, slice his filthy dick as well," Felberta ordered, and Borki felt pale in sheer horror. "As you command, Lady Felberta." "Ah!" Borki's screams were echoed in the deserted slums. After dealing with Berkey, Felberta returned to Nux's room as if it was hers. There she saw a black-colored, golden-eyed young man sitting on the bed with a smile on his face. Felberta sighed as we walked towards the man and sat on his lap as if it was her rightful place. The man didn't have any complaints either. He hugged her mature body from behind, placed his chin on her shoulders, and whispered softly, "Do you feel good now?" I wanted to torture him a little more, Felberta pouted.
Oh, come on. Things have only started. Won't the real troubles he face start tomorrow? You were the one who wanted to take things as slow as possible, Nux chuckled. A small, cruel smile appeared on Felberta's face as she nodded. I know. That's why I held back and didn't kill him. I want him to take his life with his own hands. Tisk, tisk, what a cruel woman, Nux snorted as he shook his head. At the same time, he caressed her belly and kissed her neck. I'm a cruel and petty woman, so be careful around me, okay? Don't you dare think about betraying me, Felberta answered. Heh, you think I will let you go? Nux questioned with a small smile on his face. Felberta Alvi, the moment you bought me as your boy toy was the moment you fell into my inescapable trap. You can't run away now, even if you want to, Nux whispered softly. Felberta smiled as the sweet memories of the last few months played in her mind, and then she chuckled. Tisk, tisk, you were so cute when you stuttered and always had a blush on your face. Ha ha, you were also very cute when you jumped into the arms of a man who was as frail as a stick. You looked like a monkey, Nux chuckled as well. Oh, God, Felberta groaned in annoyance. Nux's hands then moved towards her breasts and, ah, a soft moan escaped Felberta's mouth. How sensitive, you pervert. I don't want to be called that, especially from someone like you. You are the biggest pervert I have ever met in my entire life, Felberta retorted. Tisk, tisk, I'm nowhere near as perverted as you, Fel. You are so perverted that you are sitting on the lap of your son's big brother. ... Felberta's face turned red in embarrassment, and she didn't reply. She didn't have any reply. Nux sensed her embarrassment and chuckled. Don't worry, he will call me father soon. Felberta's face turned even redder. Then suddenly, Nux tightened his grip around her waist and, but before that, I need to prove that I can become his father. Saying that, Nux fell onto the bed with Felberta in his arms. He then rolled on top of her, and before she could say anything, he sealed her beautiful lips. On. Then they started the deed, and a long, long night passed by. The Royal Court of Justice, as the name suggests, is a place where people file a complaint, start a case, and accuse someone who harmed them in any way. The guilty are then punished accordingly, while the victims are compensated. Earl Berkey was sitting in the waiting room of the Royal Court of Justice. His arrogance on his face had been washed away. From his limp clothes, it could be seen that his arms were chopped off, and by how no one accompanied him even in such conditions, it could be seen that the things were not going well for him. However, that wasn't the main problem. Hey you, enter. A guard then walked into the waiting room and pointed at another man, signaling him to enter. Seeing this scene, Berkey frowned and turned towards the guard. I was here earlier than him. The guard then turned towards Berkey, and then he frowned. So? Shouldn't I be allowed to go inside first? Berkey questioned. I remember that he came earlier than you. Don't try to fool me. I'm very sharp. This is your last warning. Try it one more time and I will kick you out, the guard warned, and Berkey gritted his teeth in rage. This was the 10th time he had been hearing the same line. Yes, he has been here in this place for 8 hours already. However, he was not chosen by the guard and not allowed to enter. Even the people who came after him entered and left the court. Berkey clenched his fist. Ah, he had no fists. Berkey gritted his teeth in anger as his body started trembling. It was clear that this guard was picking on him on purpose. And the problem was that there was nothing he could do about it. After yesterday's incident, the strength and status he possessed were destroyed. The 10 master stage cultivators under him died. The cultivators he sent to Crook's house were dead. And with his arms cut off, he was no better than any ordinary human. There was only so much he could do with his legs after all. And the guard seems to know his condition.
Therefore, he was picking on him on purpose. He didn't know who the bastard who spread the rumor about him so quickly was, but one thing was sure. His life would be changing for the worse now, and there was nothing he could do about it. Right now, no matter how angry he was, he could only lower his head in front of this lowly guard. "Please, let me go inside. It is something I have to do. I beg you." Seeing a noble lowering his head in front of him, the guard smiled disdainfully. However, then a strict look appeared on his face. "You bastard, haven't I told you already? You will go inside when it's your turn. Just wait here, you dog." Hearing his answer, Berkey was now sure the guard was not just picking on him for fun. He was being ordered by one of his enemies. Berkey started thinking about who it could be. However, what he didn't know was that the one who ordered the guard was not any noble, but it was the Royal Court of Justice.
Yes, the Royal Court of Justice was the one that was trying to restrict Berkey. It wasn't as holy and just place as it was said to be. In the world of cultivation, where strength rules, something like the Justice Court was nothing more than a farce. No one who was truly weak had ever won any case in the Justice Court. This was just a legal way for nobles to do the crime. And of course, as an earl, Berkey knew it well. However, he never thought that the court wouldn't support him. He never thought that the court would deem him as weak. He was unable to calculate his position properly. He wasn't thinking properly right now. Justice Court's decision was logical. He was just an earl in the name now, with his cultivator subordinates now gone, his arms now chopped off. He was nothing more than a slightly stronger cripple. And since he was an earl, he naturally had many enemies. They are never going to leave him alone. Of course, he had his allies too, but they were nobles who allied for mutual interests. Now there was nothing Berkey provide them in return. Therefore, there is no way they would stay with him. Heck, some might even try to take advantage of this situation. Berkey was completely surrounded now, and his future looked bleak. Therefore, Justice Court decided to not waste their time on someone like him. Berkey glanced at the guard, and then he warned, "Don't regret your choice in the future." Saying that, he turned around and left the Justice Court. He needed to think of something else. However, right now he was too tired. He decided to return to his mansion, get some rest, and then think over the situation calmly. An hour later, Berkey returned to his mansion. Then a servant approached him and bowed. "Master Berkey, you received a letter from the Royal Academy. I believe it is sent by young master." Hearing that, Berkey's eyes brightened. Yes, his son had some connections with the daughter of Marquis Water in the academy. He might be able to help me. "Read it, quick," he ordered the servant. The servant nodded and started reading. Berkey heard everything with an excited look on his face. However, the more he read, the gloomier his face got, and his excitement died down. Then he gritted his teeth in anger. "That bastard! How can he fall out with that girl at the time when I needed it the most? What the hell is wrong with his brain? And he dares asks for help? He wants me to deal with the student that defeated him? The student that was now under the protection of the princess of the kingdom? How can I give birth to such an unreliable child?" Berkey cursed in his head. Then he shook his head and walked away. He was a fool to even think of relying on his child. He had to do something on his own. Berkey then walked into his room to get some rest. However, before he could even lay down on his bed, a knock was heard. "Master Berkey, there are people who would like to meet you," he heard his servant's voice. "Tell them I am tired. I would talk to them later." Berkey shook his head and sat on the bed. Hey, you can't enter like this." Berkey then heard his servant's panicked voice and frowned. He was just about to question what happened, but before that, bam!
The doors of his room were burst open, and a few people entered. "Berkey, bastard, you dare act as a tyrant?" An enraged voice was heard. "Earl Deniski," Berkey frowned. He knew this man. Their relationship wasn't good. Actually, they could even be called enemies. "Why are you here?" Berkey questioned with a scowl on his face. He did not like where things were going at all. "You bastard! You dare act innocent after acting as a tyrant yesterday night? How shameless!" "What do you mean?" Berkey narrowed his eyes. He doesn't want to talk about last night at all. However, Deniski had different thoughts. The ring on his finger shined, and a few heads appeared on the floor. "These are your subordinates, correct?" Deniski questioned. Berkey looked at his subordinates' dissipated heads, and his eyes turned cold. Then his eyes fell on an old man who was standing behind Earl Deniski and was smiling at him. "Crook," he scowled. "You dare send assassins to attack my friend?" Deniski raised his voice. "Your friend?" Berkey frowned. "Since when did a bastard like you make friends with a mere baron? How low have you fallen?" Those were the questions he wanted to ask. However, he didn't get the chance to. "You bastard! You think you are the king of this kingdom? Do you think you can do anything you want just because you are an earl? Do you think you are the only earl in the kingdom? How dare you send assassins after my friend? What would you have done if I wasn't there with him and protected him, huh?" Deniski raised his voice, and Berkey understood what was happening. A wry, defeated smile appeared on his face. "It already started, huh? You bastard, I want you to compensate. Otherwise, I would be forced to take this matter into the Royal Court of Justice." Berkey stayed silent. "Why are you silent, you bastard? Say something." Then Berkey sighed. He couldn't do anything about it. It was happening too fast than he had expected. He then glanced at Baron Crook, who was sneering at him, and gritted his teeth in anger. Then Berkey shook his head. "What do you want?" he questioned. A small smile appeared on Deniski's face. Heh, it was time to loot an earl when he was down. There was no way he would let that slip. And he wasn't the only one. Many will visit Earl Berkey soon. Berkey knew it as well. He realized that it was too late to do anything. No, actually, it was not that he was too late. It was more like everything happened too early. It was as if someone planned all this. Of course, in the end, Berkey couldn't do anything. Speculations like these were useless. He, Earl Berkey, and the Berkey house were finished. "Mama, good morning!" Royce rushed towards the dining table with a smile on his face. A smile appeared on Felberta's face when she saw him running towards her. The little boy then hugged his mother and then sat down on the chair next to Felberta's. "Sister Skyla, good morning!" "Good morning, little Royce," Skyla smiled as she ruffled Royce's hair. Royce then turned towards Lane and smiled brightly. "Good morning, Sister Lane." "Good morning," Lane smiled back. "Good morning, Miss Etta." Foo. Etta just smiled. Royce didn't know her, therefore, after greeting her, he decided to ignore her. He then turned towards Skyla to ask something. However, before he could, Felberta questioned, "Have you brushed your teeth?" "Mom, of course I have. I'm not a child anymore," Royce retorted with a red face. He looked quite embarrassed that his mother asked that. "You will never be old enough for your mother." Felberta used the typical mother dialogue as well. "All right, I'm hungry. What have you made, Sister Skyla?" Royce questioned. "Here, I made little Royce's favorite, egg rolls," Skyla answered excitedly. However, Royce pouted. "Since when have they been my favorite?" Come on, just eat it," Skyla smiled. "I won't. I don't like egg rolls." Royce shook his head. "Eat it. They're healthy for you. You want to get stronger, do you not?" Suddenly, a serious look appeared on Royce's face. "Yes, I want to be strong enough so that no one can bully me again." Felberta turned silent when she heard Royce's words. Then a small smile appeared on her face and she muttered, Don't worry, no one will bully you from now on. Is it because of Big Brother Nux? Well, if it is him, then I'm sure no one would bully me. Many students, mainly male students, are scared of him. Huh? Why males in particular, I wonder? Edda questioned with a small smile on her face. He's an idol for female students after all. Some even call him the king of the Royal Academy, Royce muttered with a smile on his face. Hey, that's a good title to start with. We can say he got a little closer to his actual goal now. Edda laughed. Royce didn't understand what she was talking about. He was about to ask, however, Felberta interrupted. Royce, you really trust your big brother Nux, don't you? Of course. He was the only one who actually did something to save me after all. He even fought against the Queen, even though she was stronger than him. Big Brother Nux is an amazing and caring person, Royce answered. Oh, really? Felberta smiled. Indeed, he's the best. Royce nodded with an excited look on his face. He didn't know about others. However, for him, Nux was a hero who saved him from villains, a hero who fought against injustice. He respects Nux a lot. Then how about Big Brother Nux becomes your father? Suddenly Felberta questioned. Huh? Royce frowned. You don't like that idea? Felberta questioned with a worried look. Is that actually possible? For Big Brother Nux to become my father? Royce questioned with a shocked look. His real father died while he was 8 months old, therefore he doesn't remember much about his father and was raised by his mother alone. However, he still missed a fatherly figure. He has seen other children talking about their father. Usually he keeps quiet and stays out of conversations like these. However, if Big Brother Nux could become his new father, then he would be able to join that conversation as well. He would be able to talk about his father as well. Not only that, but Big Brother Nux is strong and has immense potential. He could protect him and his mother from any harm. Big Brother Nux was indeed a perfect candidate to become his father. However, the question was, is it really possible? Would Big Brother Nux accept this? What if Big Brother Nux rejects this offer and distances himself from him? Royce started wondering. However, Felberta, Royce's mother, didn't seem very worried about Big Brother Nux's opinion. Of course he can. You just have to say yes. I'm sure your Big Brother Nux would accept it. Really? Then I accept. I accept it, Royce exclaimed in joy. Oh, so I have a child now? Suddenly, Royce heard a familiar voice. He quickly turned around and saw Nux walking towards him with a smile on his face. Big Brother Nux, he exclaimed in joy. However, just as he walked towards him, Nux flicked on his forehead. Ugh, why did you hit me? Royce questioned with a frown on his face. Tisk, how dare you call me Big Brother? Shouldn't you call me Daddy? Huh? Royce frowned. Then a big smile appeared on Royce's face as he hugged Nux. Daddy! Nux patted his head with a smile on his face. Then he picked him up and walked towards the dining table. Mr. Nux, Skyla, Lane, and Edda greeted. You don't have to call me so formally. I'm now Royce's father. You can call me by my name. Using twisted logic, Nux first stopped there from using this weird way to call him. As you say, Nux, Edda muttered as she glanced at Nux with a meaningful smile on her face. Yes, this is better, Nux nodded. Better indeed, Edda muttered again. The playful look in her eyes did not disappear at all. You horny bitch, can't you see that my child is still here? Stop acting like that. Felberta used the telepathic connection and shouted at Edda. Edda turned towards Felberta and smiled. Felberta then turned towards Nux. The two of them smiled at each other, and then she muttered, All right then, Royce, from now on, you will refer to Nux as your father. Yeah! Royce exclaimed in joy. Then he turned towards Nux and smiled. Father! Nux patted his head with a smile. Son! Skyla, Lane,
Edda, Felberta, Nux, and Royce ate breakfast together. Then they talked with each other for a while, and then Skyla, the one who had the biggest heart among all other women, decided to sacrifice herself and took Royce out in the garden to play. Felberta, Edda, Lane, and Nux continued to talk with each other with smiles on their faces. "Don't forget, it will be my turn as soon as I return." However, before Skyla left, she turned towards Nux and muttered, "All right, my cute little Skyla." Nux nodded with a small smile on his face. "Good, good." Skyla nodded as well, and then she took Royce out into the garden. Her aim was simple: play as many games as fast as she could. She would make sure Royce gets tired as soon as possible, and then she would return and have a blissful session with Nux. "All right, little Royce, let's start with the catch ball. What do you say?" Skyla questioned as a ball appeared in her hand, and then, without waiting for Royce's approval, she threw the ball away. "Now, go catch it, quick! I will start the timer. The faster you come back, the better score you will get." Royce nodded and quickly fell into her rhythm. The two of them started playing. As for Nux, well, he was playing another game with 3 other women. In the evening, after spending time with Skyla, Felberta, Edda, and Lane, Nux was resting in his room with a lazy look on his face. Knock, knock, knock. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door. Nux frowned, and then he walked towards the door. However, when he opened it, he didn't see anybody. Nux frowned, and then he closed the doors. He then turned around and was about to walk towards his bed again when someone attacked him from behind. A small smile appeared on Nux's face. He then grabbed the figure's delicate hands with his hand, and then he pinned her onto the wall with her hands on the top of her head and his face generously close to hers. "Tisk, tisk, you dare attack me so sneakily, huh?" Nux questioned as he gave a small peck on Thyra's soft pink lips. Thyra blushed, and then she shook her head and sighed. "I can't believe that I failed to attack you even after getting stronger." Nux sealed her lips again, and this time he started sucking on Thyra's lips. Thyra didn't resist at all, and she started enjoying the kiss. The kiss continued for another minute, and then Nux moved his head away from her. His golden eyes shined brightly as Thyra's information appeared in front of his eyes. Name, Thyra Cruz. Age, 44. Mana cultivation, expert. Body cultivation, mortal. Race, human. Occupation, assassin of Marquess Bannermain House. Talent, high. LVL, 49 to 50. HP, 610 over 610. MP, 1070 over 1070. STRR, 59 to 60. AGLL, 66 to 67. VIT, 60 to 61. STM, 61 to 62. INT, 86 to 107. DEFF, 53 to 54. "You broke through," Nux smiled. "I did," Thyra replied with a big smile on her face. She has been fighting against Alger, Heath, 2 and 3 at the same time, and this time they weren't using wooden swords. Rather, they were using their real swords, and it was a dangerous fight. Thyra even got injured many times. However, she still continued fighting, and after doing that for weeks, the pressure piled up and she got the push that she needed to become the expert stage cultivator. Now Nux doesn't need that bitch Arvina's help to go stronger. He could rely on her. She would still be the strongest amongst all his women and will be the most useful one for him. Thyra thought about it. Arvina was an expert stage cultivator earlier than her and was thus stronger than her. Thyra didn't think that was possible. She has heard about Arvina. The woman likes swords and is like a warrior. She is stronger than normal expert stage cultivators. However, she wasn't a normal cultivator either. She had the power to kill expert stage cultivators when she was Grand Master stage cultivators. Now that she has become an expert stage cultivator, she didn't think that someone like Arvina would be able to defeat her. As long as she gets the first attack, Arvina would be dead if the two of them ever clashed.
Of course, Nux wouldn't let that happen. Never. A small smile appeared on Nux's face as he kissed Thyra's forehead gently. "You have worked hard," he whispered in her ears. I should be rewarded, don't you think?" Thyra questioned with a red face while she tried to avert her eyes. "Oh!" Nux was surprised. However, soon a playful smile appeared on his face as he nodded. "I agree. You should be rewarded for your efforts." Saying that, he moved his lips towards her ears seductively, and then he whispered, "But you dare attack me so sneakily. Don't you think you should be punished for that?" "Huh?" Thyra frowned. As if copying her, Nux frowned as well. "Rewarding and punishing, these are complete opposites. What do we do now?" he wondered inwardly. Then his eyes shined. How about we cancel 2 of them out?" "Huh? Cancel?" Thyra frowned as she couldn't understand what he was talking about. Nux smiled playfully and explained, "Yeah, canceling it out. You deserve a reward and you deserve a punishment. Then how about we cancel them both and leave you alone? Won't that be best?" "No," Thyra quickly retorted. "I have another idea," she muttered. She didn't know why, but she was a little more expressive today. "What idea? Tell me, I'm listening." Nux nodded. "Rewarding and punishing both end up with the same result anyway, so how about we just double the amount of time spent?" Thyra muttered with a red face. Nux was taken aback. He blinked a few more times and then he questioned, "So, you're telling me that rewarding and punishing are one and the same?" Nux's smile widened as he stated, "Thyra Cruz, what a big pervert you are."
"Thyra Cruz, what a big pervert you are," Nux stated with a playful smile on his face. I am not a pervert." Thyra, however, denied the accusations. "Oh, are you sure about that?" Nux questioned with a smile. Yes, I am. I am not a pervert," Thyra answered. Nux then started thinking, and then a big, gentle smile appeared on his face. "All right, I often heard that facing the reality is the biggest punishment one can go through," Nux muttered, and then he smiled. "At the same time, knowing the reality can also be a reward." Nux then glanced at Thyra, sealed her lips again, and then he muttered, "Thyra Cruz, I have decided what to do with you. I will now show you the reality. I will now show you the real you." Nux smiled, and although Thyra didn't like where this was going, she liked where this was going. Confusing thoughts indeed. Looks good indeed," Nux muttered as he nodded his head repeatedly, as if praising himself. "So, I call this the mirror of reality. As I said, this will help you see the real you." Nux smiled. Thyra, on the other hand, couldn't answer. Right now her limbs were tied on what looked like a cross, and in front of her there was a huge mirror. The mirror was as big as a wall, and seeing herself in the mirror, a weird sense of tingling feeling assaulted Thyra's little sister. Then, through the mirror, she noticed that Nux was coming toward her with a smile on his face. Her body trembled as Nux stood behind her, and then his hands started moving. First, they touched her waist, then they moved up, and after circling around her lovely breasts, they moved to her shoulders, and then her arms. After that, a small smile appeared on Nux's face, and then a knife appeared in his hands. "Shall we start?" he questioned with a gentle smile on his face, and then, without waiting for her answer, he used the knife to cut open her clothes as slowly as possible. The knife moved from her hands to her shoulder, trailing down her body while cutting her clothes without actually harming her body in any way. "Don't move, okay? Things might get dangerous," Nux whispered into her ears softly, and for some reason her whole body trembled when she heard his voice. The knife then reached her armpit and stopped,
Then it circled around her armpit and shoulder, and her whole sleeve fell on the floor, revealing her arm. Nux kissed her shoulder, and then he continued doing the same with her other arm. When both her sleeves fell on the floor, Nux smiled, and then he placed his knife under Thyra's armpits and started cutting her clothes down to her legs. Then he did the same thing on the other side. Nux then stepped back and appeared behind her again. Then he placed the knife above Thyra's breasts and started cutting her clothes in a horizontal line. Thyra's clothes fell, revealing the black-colored bra she was wearing. "Ah, it didn't completely fall off, did it?" Nux muttered as he shook his head. Then he brought his knife close to Thyra's little sister. "Ah!" Thyra groaned a little when Nux slid the knife's hilt on the top of her little sister. Then he placed the blade near her little sister and started cutting her pants all the way down to her legs. After he repeated the same thing to the other side, Thyra's dress finally fell to the floor. Nux used the same trick to remove her bra and panty as well, and once he was done, Nux admired his work with a big, satisfied smile on his face. "What a beautiful sight," Nux complimented. Thyra's face turned red for some reason. This wasn't the first time she has been naked in front of Nux. However, this was definitely the first time when he did something like this. Also, seeing the whole process in the mirror in front of her, this excited her in a strange way. "Do you see how your thighs are wet in the mirror?" Suddenly Nux, who was standing behind Thyra, pointed at the mirror and muttered, "Huh?" Thyra glanced at the mirror, and then she realized she was wet. Her little sister was trembling in anticipation and was releasing its juice uncontrollably. Nux smiled. "See? That is what the mirror of truth does. It shows you your real self. Now, tell me, what kind of person would get wet after having their clothes removed in such a way?" "A pervert," Nux questioned, and then he answered. "A pervert. Only a pervert would get excited by something like this." Thyra's face turned red, however. She quickly shook her head. "I am not a pervert." "Tisk, tisk. To dare deny it even after the proof is right in front of you, Thyra Cruz. You have fallen to a low level." Nux shook his head in disappointment. However, this time Thyra was prepared with the answer. She then pointed at the mirror and muttered, "See that huge tent that has formed on your pant? Who gets excited after removing someone's clothes in such a way? A pervert." Thyra smiled as she used his words against him. Also, she did not give up the momentum she had gained and continued, "The real pervert in this room is not me. It is you, Nux Leander." Nux was taken by surprise. However, he soon came out of his reverie and answered, No, you got that wrong, Thyra. This boner does not show that I am a pervert. Rather, this boner is the key that will show you your real self and prove that you are a pervert." Saying that, Nux lowered his pants, revealing his hard dick that had veins popping all over its body. He then placed his dick right under Thyra's little sister, and seeing that scene right in front of her, gulp, Thyra gulped.
And a small moan leaked out of Thyra's mouth as Nux placed the head of his dick on Thyra's pussy. However, no matter how much Thyra moaned, his did not enter her insides. This made Thyra's little sister scream in frustration, and she started twitching uncontrollably. "Thyra, you see how your little sister is twitching? That proves that you are a pervert." Nux pointed at the mirror with a smile on his face. Thyra, however, did not give up. Her body was already shuddering from anticipation. She knew that she couldn't let Nux tease her anymore. She knew that she should just give in and let Nux do whatever he wanted with her. However, she didn't want that. Where's the fun in that? She would rather go against him. Then he would try even harder. Don't talk like that when your little brother has veins all over his body. I can see how eager it is to enter my little sister. You are the real pervert here. So you won't give up, huh? Nux muttered with a small smile on his face. Then he nodded to himself and pointed at the mirror again. Thyra Cruz, look at the mirror. Thyra frowned in confusion, however. In the end, she did what she was told. Remember your face, how you're smiling back, how your blue eyes are shining, how confident you look. Remember everything. Burn it in your memory. Thyra frowned even more. Have you remembered your face? Nux questioned with a smile. Even though she was confused, Thyra nodded her head. Nux's smile widened, and then black-colored mist came out of his body and moved towards Thyra's face. The mist then covered her eyes, and Thyra's vision turned black. Of course, the mist wasn't dangerous for her eyes. After increasing his mastery level to advanced level, Nux is now able to control how dangerous the mist would be to some extent. Right now, the danger level was 0. It was no different than Nux covering her eyes with his own hands. Nux's smile widened even more, and then, A-N-N-N-N-H-H-H-H. He pierced his rod in her body in one go. Thyra moaned in pleasure. With her eyes now closed, all her other senses heightened. She could feel how her walls were sucking and clustering around Nux's dick. She could feel how her womb was trembling and was sending waves and waves of pleasure all over her body. She could feel everything. Then, she felt Nux's dick moving out of her cave. Her walls twitched, however soon, the dick was smashed right back in her cave, and A-N-N-H-H-H-H-H. Thyra moaned again. Thyra then felt Nux's hands moving towards her breasts. Then, she felt his fingers circling around her breasts. A-N-N-H-H-H-H. At the same time, he drilled his rod inside her again. Then, Thyra could also feel Nux's breath on her shoulders. He was about to kiss her cheek. Nux did what Thyra expected and kissed her teeth while he rammed his dick in her body. Thyra continued to moan as well. For some reason, doing it with her eyes closed felt even better. And another moan leaked out of her mouth when Nux pinched her nipples at the same time. Then his right hand continued to play with her nipple while his left hand moved down. Thyra's body shuddered in pleasure when Nux touched her clitoris at the same time he rammed his cock in her body. Thyra felt her body losing all her strength. However, since her limbs were tied, there was nothing she could do rather than accept Nux's thrusts without any resistance whatsoever. She could feel him kissing her cheek and shoulder, playing with her nipple, rubbing her clitoris, and ramming his cock in her. He was doing everything at the same time and was releasing waves after waves of pleasure into her body. N. Thyra moaned helplessly. Pa pa pa. Her ears picked the sounds of flesh clashing with flesh. She didn't need to think much. She knew what that sound was. Suddenly, Thyra's body shuddered again when she felt Nux biting her earlobe. Her walls tightened. Her body became rigid, back arched up, and squirt. N-H-H-H. She came. Pa pa pa. Nux, however, wasn't done with her, and even though her little sister was squirting and wavering with pleasure, he continued to ram his cock inside her body. N. This multiplied the pleasure Thyra was feeling. And suddenly, Nux flicked her clitoris. Thyra's already weak body shuddered again, and she had another minor orgasm a second after she was done with the main one. You are more excited than normal, are you not? Suddenly, she heard Nux's gentle voice. However, she did not have the energy to answer his questions. The pleasure was too much for her. Also, with how Nux still continued to drill his rod into her, she could do nothing but moan continuously. She was helpless right now. However, that didn't mean she would let him win. Thyra then collected her remaining strength and then tried to tighten her walls. Her method seems to have worked as her ears picked up Nux's groan. Ugh, hi, I am coming. Then Thyra felt a thick liquid filling her insides. This made her body tremble even more. She lost all the strength she had, and she enjoyed another minor orgasm. Her nose then picked the smell of her liquids being mixed with Nux's. She didn't need to see and was able to tell that these liquids were falling out of her little sister without stopping. She took deep breaths. You don't think we are done here, do you, my lovely Thyra? Suddenly, Nux's voice entered her ears, and Thyra's body froze. Then, Nux adjusted the cross Thyra was tied on, and then he lowered her upper body and made her bend to an exact 90 degrees. Then, he moved us towards Thyra's soft butt and started caressing it. We still have lots and lots of time, my lovely Thyra. Saying that, Nux rammed his cock inside her again, and another round started. ANNN.
Ugh, I am coming again. Ah. Nux and Thyra moaned in pleasure as they both orgasmed at the same time. Nux then rested his body on top of Thyra's back, and the two of them started breathing heavily. Then, a familiar energy entered Nux's body, and a bunch of messages appeared in front of his eyes. He, however, ignored those messages and stood up. Taking his dick out of her little sister, Nux walked towards Thyra with a smile on his face. Thyra, who still had the black mist covering her eyes, felt Nux's little brother moving out of her cave. Then she heard his footsteps and realized that he was walking towards him. Then a strong scent assaulted her nose. She didn't need to think to know what it was. Sniff, sniff. She sniffed even more and moved her face towards Nux's dick. However, suddenly the mist around her eyes disappeared. Thyra frowned, but before she could say anything, she heard Nux's voice. "Look at the mirror of reality, Thyra." Thyra then turned towards the mirror and her eyes widened her surprise. Her face was completely red, she was breathing heavily, her hairs were a mess, and there was a silly smile on her face. If that was not enough, then the way she had moved her head towards Nux's dick and the way her tongue was out on its own shocked Thyra to her core. Compare this face to your previous face, Thyra. Then try to tell me that you are not a pervert. Thyra then glanced at Nux's face and saw him looking at her with a smirk on her face. She then looked at her own face once more and was shocked again. She couldn't believe it was her. She couldn't believe that she was able to make that face. She didn't resemble her usual calm and emotionless appearance at all. It was as if she was a completely different person. However, Thyra's silly smile then widened. It wasn't a problem. As long as Nux is the only one who sees her this side, it wasn't a problem at all. "I am a pervert," she admitted with a smile on her face. Nux chuckled. He then brought his dick close to Thyra's mouth. Thyra knew what she had to do. She opened her mouth, and then she started licking his shaft. A few minutes later, she started sucking. Slurp, slurp, slurp. She started sucking as intensely as she could. "Ah, Thyra, you are too good," Nux groaned in pleasure. With her body tied up, her movements were minimal. However, she compensated for that by how strongly she was sucking Nux's dick. It was as if she was trying to force him to come even more. And with how her cheeks were sunk inwardly, Nux, who was already very sensitive, couldn't hold back and, "Ah!" He came again. Thyra didn't waste any drop. As if she was someone who hadn't eaten for days, she drank all his jizz without leaving anything. Then she opened her mouth as if she was trying to show him that she had drank it all. Nux's dick twitched when he saw that face. Thyra was tired, he knows that. He knows that the moment he places her on the bed, the girl would sleep. However, even after that, the girl still gave him a blowjob. What a lovely assassin. Nux then removed her from her bindings. Then he picked her up and walked towards the bed. "It is good that you admit it," he muttered. "It is good that we have something in common," suddenly Thyra muttered in a weak voice. "We both are perverts," Thyra completed, and then she closed her eyes. The meaning behind her words was clear. Even though she was a pervert, Nux was one as well. Even in the end, she did not completely give in. Nux chuckled. "We both are perverts," he agreed, and then he kissed her forehead. Thyra was already asleep. He wanted to sleep as well. However, there was something he wanted to do before that. First, he moved the mirror and the cross into his storage ring. This cross was something he borrowed from Edda. As for this mirror, well, he carried it around because of this mirror of reality idea that had suddenly come into his mind. I was fun indeed, he chuckled inwardly. Thyra was more sensitive than usual today. Nux shook his head. He sat on the ground, and then he called for his system. Those messages reappeared in front of his eyes. Congratulations to the host for rising to an expert stage monocultivator from a grand master stage monocultivator. INT plus 20. Blank points plus 40. Congratulations to the host for rising to an expert stage body cultivator from a grand master stage body cultivator. STR plus 8. AGL plus 8. VIT plus 8. STM plus 8. DEF plus 8. Blank points plus 20. Harem Gate unlocked. Name, Nux Leander. Age, 18. Monocultivation, expert. Body cultivation, expert. Physique, devouring mist demon physique. Advanced. Talent, high. LVL, 43 to 50. Harem points, 118. Nux Leander was now an expert stage cultivator, an 18-year-old expert stage cultivator, and not a normal expert stage cultivator, but a cultivator who can easily overpower any other expert stage cultivators who dare to come in front of him. 48 points for free. A small smile appeared on Nux's face. However, then his smile died away. He was still far from his goal. He needed 1,000 blank points. For what? To upgrade his physique mastery to master level. Yes, it needed 1,000 blank points. Upgrade to advanced level mastery only needed 100 blank points, but now a direct 10 times increase. This was ridiculous. The system was trying to suck him dry. Nux, however, quickly calmed himself. He had no need to get agitated. He should focus on something much more important. Harem Gate unlocked.
Harem Gate unlocked. Active skill. Effects. Teleports near a harem member. 1 MP, 100 meters. 1 free use every day. Warning. If the distance between the host and his woman is more than the MP required to get there, the ability will not work. Warning: a woman can only be counted as harem member if she has harem seal. The more Nux read, the wider his smile got. What a convenient ability, he muttered inwardly. He then quickly walked into the bathroom and washed. Then he closed his eyes. As soon as he got this ability, he realized how to use it. It wasn't very hard. He just had to choose the woman he wants to go to, and boom, he would be around the said woman. Of course, he was planning to use and test this ability as much as he could. Amaya Skyfall, he thought inwardly. His body then disappeared and he appeared inside Amaya's room. MP 1,308 out of 1,800. He then glanced at his MP and noticed that around 500 MP has been reduced. Amazing! Nux muttered in amazement as he started looking around. It was indeed Amaya's room. His eyes then fell on Amaya, who was lying on the bed, covering herself with devouring mist and acting like a sick person. A smile appeared on Nux's face when he saw that. He then closed his eyes again. Allura Skyfall, he thought inwardly. His body then disappeared and he appeared inside Allura's room. MP 1,301 out of 1,800. He then glanced at his MP and noticed that around 500 MP has been reduced. Amazing! Nux muttered in amazement as he started looking around. It was indeed Allura's room. His eyes then fell on Amaya, who was lying on the bed, covering herself with devouring mist and acting like a sick person. A smile appeared on Nux's face when he saw that. He then closed his eyes again. Allura Skyfall,
he thought inwardly. His body then disappeared and he appeared inside Allura's room. MP 1301 out of 1800. He then heard Allura's startled voice. Huh? Nux? Right now, Allura was reading a book while thinking about Nux. She was really surprised that he appeared right in front of her like this. How are you, my beautiful Allura? Did you miss me? Nux questioned with a smile on his face. Shouldn't you come here in the night? Allura questioned while she walked into Nux's embrace as if it was the most natural thing to do. Should I come in the night then? Nux questioned with a playful smile on his face. Can you really stay away from me for that long? Allura questioned back with a smile on her face. Nux chuckled. As expected of Allura, this was indeed the perfect answer. His hands that were hugging Allura started moving towards her soft and lovely breasts. Then a thought appeared inside Nux's head. He had already used 500 MP. Why not wait here a little and spend some blissful time with his woman? He could always test his abilities later, can he not? The more he thought about it, the wider his smile got. Wait! Suddenly, Allura froze. You became an expert stage cultivator, she realized. Then she started thinking. Only Arvina could help Nux, however she knew that he wasn't that close to her, yet. Then there was only one option left. Thyra broke through, Allura muttered. She didn't even think about the possibility of Nux cultivating on his own. She knew him well. He would rather spend time with his woman than cultivate. He was a horny pervert. Indeed, Nux nodded with a smile. She worked hard. Allura smiled as well. She was actually happy for Thyra, even though the two of them didn't like each other. While she was thinking all of this, Nux picked her up and walked toward the bed. Then he whispered in his usual gentle voice, "How about we work hard as well?" A smile appeared on Allura's face, and she chuckled. "Of course, we should always work hard." Nux smiled. He then quickly removed Allura's clothes and pounced on her like a beast. Roar! 2 hours later, Nux took a bath in the bathroom, with Allura, of course. However, they did not do anything. It was already time for dinner. Nux had to return. Nux, who wore his clothes, smiled at Allura. "We will meet soon, my love." Allura smiled back. Nux then closed his eyes and, Skyla. Then he disappeared. Allura raised her eyebrows in amazement. Nux had already told her about his new ability, therefore she wasn't really shocked about his sudden disappearance. However, she was still surprised. She again was reminded of how absurd her man was. An ability like this was simply illogical. On the other hand, Nux appeared behind Skyla. The girl was startled by his sudden appearance, however, she was quick to recover. "Nux!" she exclaimed and jumped into his embrace. MP 985 out of 1800. So I don't need to say the complete name, Nux noted in his head. He still needed to test the limits of his ability after all. "How are you doing, Skyla?" "Making food," Skyla answered. "Oh ho, I'm looking forward to your cooking," Nux answered as he kissed her lips. I will make sure that it will come out tasty," Skyla answered with a cheerful smile. She didn't even bother questioning how he appeared behind her. Well, Nux's conceal worked in a similar way, so you can see that she was already used to Nux appearing around her. "All right, I will go now. Bye," Nux muttered, and then he disappeared again. He then appeared behind Edda. MP 983 out of 1800. So I don't need the name at all, Nux noted again. He then looked around and saw Lane and Edda were looking at him.
Lane, can you go stand towards that wall? Nux questioned. Lane frowned, however she nodded and then did as she was told. What are you trying to... Etta wanted to question. However, before she could, Nux disappeared and appeared beside Lane. MP 983 out of 1,800. This time, no MP was used. Does that mean it doesn't require MP if the distance is less than 100 meters? Nux questioned inwardly. He then turned to Etta and muttered, Etta, you go stand over there. All right. Seeing him disappear like that, Etta realized that he got yet another absurd ability. Therefore, she did as she was told. He will tell her everything later. She doesn't need to ask any questions right now. Nux then disappeared and appeared behind Etta. Then he disappeared again and appeared near Etta. He repeated it 5 times and MP 982 out of 1,800. Suddenly, Nux grabbed his head and groaned in pain. Ugh.
Right now, Royce was sitting in front of the dining table with a frown on his face. He glanced at Felberta, who was eating silently. Then his eyes fell on Nux, who was doing the same. Miss Etta was standing beside them, eating silently as well. Skyla and Lane were standing behind them without moving. And there was another woman who was sitting at the dining table. Normally, this would not be weird. Royce has seen other guests visiting them and having dinner with them before. However, today, the air around the dining table felt weird. It was quiet. Too quiet. After the initial greetings, the only sounds he heard were utensils touching each other. Nothing else. Generally, the dinner with a guest should have more energy than normal. However, Royce could feel that the energy had decreased and is less than normal. In the end, Royce decided to ignore this and focused on eating. Adults seemed to think differently than him. He shouldn't try to understand them. Thinking about it, Royce ignored everything that was happening and continued eating. This is a great ability, Thyra muttered with an excited look on her face. Yes, Nux and the others were using Harem Seal's telepathic link to talk to each other. That is why the dining room was so silent. Right now, Nux was talking about the new ability he had received. A great ability indeed. Now we don't have to wait for Nux. All we have to do is call him and he will appear beside us. Foo. Etta nodded in agreement. That is not what I'm talking about, you pervert, Thyra retorted. Huh? What? You don't want Nux to come to you whenever you want? Etta questioned. That is not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is that this ability could be used in a better way. Tusk, you act like that right now, but I am sure you will be the one who would abuse this ability the most out of all of us, Etta snorted. Silence, training, increase. In reply, Thyra spoke only 3 words and Etta turned silent. Thyra was the strongest among everyone, and she was the one who taught everyone. She had the power here. What is this better way you are talking about? Felberta questioned in a curious tone. Using this ability, Nux can fight together with us, Thyra muttered. Huh? All the women frowned. Nux started thinking and nodded. He had a vague idea about what Thyra was talking about. Since we have this telepathic link, our coordination would already be the best if we ever joined the battlefield after a little bit of training. And if we add this new teleporting ability with it, we would be a dangerous force. Thyra started talking. She looked so excited that her eyes started shining while she was eating, making Royce think that she was a weird woman. Of course, Thyra didn't care about what Royce thought. Heck, she didn't even realize that he was looking at her. She was just too excited about this new ability, and continued. Just imagine, we 7 women and Nux fighting together as a group against many enemies. Imagine the enemies think that they would defeat you within the next move. However, suddenly, Nux appears beside us and beheads the enemy. Or suddenly, knowing that Nux is the center of our group, the enemy decides to encircle him and ignore us. Then suddenly, he would disappear from the encirclement and would start killing and attacking enemies from behind. Us 8 fighting together would make a complete invincible team, with no weakness whatsoever. Thyra explained, and the other women's eyes shined brightly. This indeed looked romantic. Fighting together with Nux would be a dream come true. Even Nux raised his eyebrow in surprise when he thought about what Thyra said. It did look quite a lethal technique. While everyone was thinking about it, Royce frowned. Is there something I don't know? He thought inwardly. That woman named Thyra alone acting strangely was fine. However, if all the people eating and serving the food acted like that, then the strange one is him, correct? Is it because I usually stay alone and don't talk much? Royce started doubting himself. I agree. Suddenly Nux and the others heard Amaya's voice. Thyra is right. This is indeed an overpowered ability. We can use it like how Thyra said. But if I teleport too much, my head would start aching like what happened an hour ago. Won't that be disadvantageous in the war? Nux questioned. We're not going to fight without any practice, of course. Your headache was most probably because your brain was unable to handle the quick changes of surroundings so many times. I believe you just have to train and you will be able to use this ability just fine. Thyra muttered. Yes, don't worry. I have already come up with a training plan. Amaya smiled. What plan? Nux questioned. Catchball, Amaya answered. Huh? Isn't that a game children play? Skyla questioned with a frown. Yes, there are 5 of you there with Nux. All 5 of you have to form a circle. Nux would stand in the center, then you 5 will try to hit each other with a ball, and Nux would have to use his ability to appear next to you, protect you, and catch the ball. That is a good way to train, I agree, Thyra nodded. He, Nux will protect us? I agree as well, Skyla chuckled. It is nothing more than training, okay? Don't act weirdly, Amaya snorted. Her jealousy was clear in her eyes. He, Skyla chuckled again, and Amaya snorted. As the plan was made, the 8 of them continued to talk. The dinner ended, and Nux then appeared in Amaya's room and spent another blissful session with her. The next whole week, Nux did 2 things, spending time with his women and training his new ability. He wanted to train with Thyra as well, however, the woman shook her head. This ability was much more important right now. It was a scarily fast way to get stronger after all. Just like that, a week passed, and Nux's vacation ended. Knock, knock, knock. Enter! Nux knocked on the door, and soon he heard a familiar voice. A smile appeared on his face as he entered. I am back, teacher. He bowed his head. Arvina looked at him with her brown-red eyes, and then a small smile appeared on her face. It is good that you are back. Soon, however, a frown appeared on her face as she questioned, Why are you hiding your cultivation again? There are many eyes here, teacher, Nux answered. Don't worry, the servants working here are loyal to me, Arvina answered. However, when her eyes fell on Nux, she paused. Nux was looking at her with a wry smile on his face. She understood what that expression meant. As I said, they are all loyal to me, she repeated. Are you 100% sure? Nux questioned. I am, Arvina answered. Teacher Arvina, a human heart can be unpredictable. Are you 100% sure that these people are loyal to you? Nux questioned again. Are you 100% sure that these people would die without any hesitation if you ordered them to? Are you 100% sure that these people would not reveal anything even if they are tortured inhumanely? Nux continued to question, and Arvina turned silent. A human heart was unpredictable indeed, so unless someone had the slave seal like Nux has, no one would be able to trust their subordinates without a sliver of doubt. All right, I understand. You can keep hiding your cultivation. Arvina then sighed. She was pretty positive that her subordinates are loyal to her. However, she could still not be 100% sure about this. There are always variables, and Nux's secret, honestly, it was much more dangerous than what Nux thinks. Things weren't as simple as Nux made it out to be. Of course, Arvina didn't blame Nux for this. How is he supposed to know the inner workings of the kingdom that even most of the members of the royal family don't know? Yes, it is always better to be careful. Nux nodded, and Arvina nodded back. All right, I believe you have enough time to rest. How about we start your training? Arvina changed the topic and muttered. Small talks weren't something she was good at anyway. Rather than talking about this, they should focus on swords, or at least that's what Arvina felt. As you say, Teacher Arvina, Nux nodded his head. Arvina smiled. She stood up and stretched her body. Nux felt that she was deliberately trying to tease him. However, he did not avert his gaze. He would be a fool to do something like that. Tisk tisk. He would rather enjoy the alluring sight that was in front of his eyes. Arvina noticed that he was looking as well. She frowned, and then she stopped stretching. Then she walked out of her office without saying anything. Nux followed behind her obediently. The two of them walked into the garden, and suddenly Nux frowned. Teacher? What is it? Arvina questioned. Where is the oh-so-mighty Queen of the Academy? She left, Arvina answered. Huh? She left the Academy? Nux frowned. Was she that embarrassed? No, she did not leave the Academy. She just left this place. The headmaster of the Academy returned 2 days earlier and heard about everything that happened. Hearing that you defeated Candace, he was shocked. He then came to me to talk about your battle, and while he was about to leave, Candace approached him. Huh? What did she say? Nux questioned with a curious look on his face. She said that the reason she lost was that I didn't teach her properly and only told her to practice one move I taught her again and again. She said that since she didn't have a variety of moves to fight against you, she lost the battle. Arvina answered with an expressionless face. She didn't look very bothered about this incident. Ah, so she blamed you. Why am I not surprised? Nux chuckled. Then he turned towards Arvina and questioned, So, what did the headmaster say? Well, no matter what, Candace still has exceptional level affinity with the water element. She has a bright future. The headmaster did not reject her and took her in as his student. Ah, so now she's headmaster's student, Nux nodded with a smile on his face. Tisk tisk. The only thing that was mildly good about her fight was that her moves seemed well practiced. To think she would give up on that advantage as well. A fool indeed. Actually, suddenly Arvina muttered. The headmaster came here because he wanted to take you as his student. Now that you have returned, I believe he will return and try to take you as his student. You do not have to worry. If you feel like he would be a better teacher than me, then by all means, you can leave with him. Question. What is it? Teacher Arvina, if you and the headmaster fight without using mana, who will win? Nux questioned with a curious look on his face. Huh? Is that even a question? I would beat that baldy up, Arvina answered as if it was a fact. Then why would I go to that baldy and train under him? Nux questioned with a smile. Oi, he is the headmaster. You cannot call him that. All right, whatever. Let's start your training, Arvina muttered. Small talks weren't something she was good at anyway. Rather than talking about this, they should focus on swords, or at least that's what Arvina felt. As you say, Teacher Arvina, Nux nodded his head. Arvina liked that look. A small smile appeared on her face as she continued. All right, let's start with your posture first. I won't change much. However, let's try to reduce the openings it has. Yes, teacher, Nux nodded with a determined look on his face. He was very much looking forward to it. He needed to impress Arvina after all. And just like that, Nux's training started.
Knock, knock, knock. Come in. The doors of Yvain's office were opened, and a beautiful red, brown-eyed, light blonde-haired woman walked in. Teacher Arvina, I heard you wanted to talk to me, but why did you come on your own? You could have called me in your office.
Yvain muttered as she stood up from her seat. Princess Yvain, you should not lower yourself like this. You have to take note of your status. Arvina narrowed her eyes and suggested. I'm just a normal teacher in this academy. You, on the other hand, are the vice headmaster. It is completely normal for me to act like this. Yvain answered with a polite smile on her face. Arvina shook her head. She knew her words won't have any effect. However, she still wanted to try nonetheless. Yvain has already given up on her title as the princess and wanted to live in peace. However, Arvina knew that something like that isn't possible. Sooner or later, she will be dragged into politics, whether she wants it or not. So, what did you want to talk about, Teacher Arvina? Yvain questioned. Arvina came out of her thoughts and replied, I want to talk about Nux. Nux? What about him? I heard that you have allowed him to live in the teacher's abode. Strange rumors have started because of this. Arvina didn't say any more. Yvain knew how the world works, and gossips were the best sources of entertainment for most people. She knew what Arvina was getting at, and she also knew what Arvina wanted her to do. However, Yvain shook her head. I don't care what those people say. I'm doing this because I want to protect Nux. People can think whatever they want. Yvain didn't care. She would do what she wanted to do. Now that she has promised that she would protect Nux, she would do her best to live up to it. You're trying to protect Nux? Arvina frowned. Yes, that boy defended himself in front of a son of an earl. In the process, he injured his opponent a little. I'm worried that the earl would target him. He's a commoner with little to no background. Although there is a marquis supporting him, I don't think that marquis would do anything if he ends up dead. Therefore, I believe that as his teacher, it is my duty to protect that child. Yvain replied with a determined look on her face. However, Arvina's expression didn't change at all. Rather, her frown only deepened. You're trying to protect Nux? She questioned again. Her mind couldn't believe the absurdity of this situation. The boy that Yvain was trying to protect was probably stronger than her. Earl? Someone like Earl is nothing in that boy's eyes. If he revealed his real cultivation, that Earl would come and beg for mercy. Arvina finally recalled the problem. It was hidden. She knew that Nux was a Grand Master stage cultivator. However, Yvain and the others did not. Yvain was just trying to protect an advanced stage cultivator. Arvina needed to think of another way to solve this problem. You don't believe the Academy's security system? Arvina questioned. I don't, Yvain answered without any filters. Arvina couldn't find a way to retort either. For an earl, it was pretty easy to get a student killed inside the academy. The only reason why no one does it is that once it is found out, the consequences would be disastrous. The academy's leader was a king stage cultivator. Getting into his bad books was a bad idea for any noble house. However, since Nux was a commoner, no one would search this case and it would be buried. That is why an earl might try to assassinate Nux inside the academy. What about me? Do you trust me? Arvina questioned. Huh? Yvain frowned. Teacher Arvina, what are you talking about? She questioned back. If I tell you that I will protect Nux, will you trust me? I need to know how you're planning to do it. I will allow him to live in my mansion. I'm sure I would be able to protect him if anyone dares to attack him. Arvina answered, and Yvain couldn't blink her eyes a few times. What the hell was Teacher Arvina talking about? Won't that spread weird rumors as well? Yvain questioned. Huh? Of course not. He's my personal student. Why would there be rumors like that? Candace had a room inside my mansion as well, Arvina answered, and Yvain's eyes widened in surprise. He's your student? Yes, I took him in as my student after seeing his talents, Yvain answered, and Yvain couldn't blink her eyes. Arvina Skyfall, a man-hater, took a male student as her student on her own accord. What? What the hell was happening? So him living in my mansion should be fine, right? Arvina questioned. This time, Yvain had no answer. She had no more reasons to keep him here, but for some reason she didn't want him to live in Arvina's mansion. Or rather, she didn't want him to leave this place. Teacher Yvain, it should be fine, correct? Arvina questioned again. Suddenly, a determined look appeared on Yvain's face as she nodded. Have you asked Nux? What does he say? About being my student? Of course he agreed. No, I'm talking about you changing his room. I have not asked him. Then that's it. Ask him first. If he agrees, I would agree as well. Huh? Why would he not agree? Arvina frowned. Yes, that is what I'm talking about. Just ask him first. Once he agrees, I will agree as well. Arvina's frown deepened. Why make a simple process so complicated? She couldn't understand. However, in the end, she couldn't force Yvain, therefore she shook her head. All right, as you say, I will ask him first. Saying that, she turned around and left Yvain's office. After she left, Yvain sat on her seat and then placed her hand on her beating heart. What the hell is happening to me? After talking with Yvonne, Arvina returned to her mansion. She then walked towards her garden to check on Nux, and a smile appeared on her face as she saw Nux swinging his sword with a determined look on his face. With how his face and clothes were drenched in sweat, Arvina knew that the boy wasn't trying to fake it and couldn't help but smile. A monstrously talented boy like his is hard-working as well. Arvina knew that his future was limitless. A thought then appeared in Arvina's mind. She hid behind a bush and started observing Nux. However, as soon as she hid behind the bush, Nux paused. Then he glanced in her direction and smiled. "Welcome back, teacher." Arvina raised her eyebrow in surprise. She then stepped out and commented, "You are sharp." "Thank you." Nux's smile widened. "That day you found Candace, who was hiding behind a bush as well. Even I was unable to do so. How did you do it?" Arvina questioned. As a warrior, she was quite perceptive about her surroundings. However, she could see that Nux easily defeated her when it comes to that. Nux, however, did not answer her question and smiled. "I'm just that good." "Tisk tisk. Focus on your moves, you arrogant fool. Your form is still not perfect." Just give me a few more hours, teacher. I will master this form." "Don't rush it," Arvina warned. She didn't want Nux to do the same mistake Candace did. "Don't worry, I won't move the next moves unless you are satisfied." "Heh, it is hard to satisfy me, boy," Arvina smiled. "We will see about that. I will satisfy you for sure." Nux muttered with a playful smile on his face. Seeing that smile, Arvina frowned. For some reason, she thought that Nux's words meant something else. However, she was not sure about it. Maybe it was just her being overly perceptive and cautious. She should not think too much about useless things, Arvina noted in her head. Then she suddenly recalled what she wanted to talk about, and she called, "Nux." "Yes?" "You live in the room next to Teacher Yvonne, correct?" "Yes, I do, though I'm not sure if it could be called a room, though. It's too big," Nux answered. "How about you stop living there and shift here?" Arvina questioned. Silence. Nux frowned and didn't answer. Seeing this, Arvina frowned as well. "There should not be any problem, correct?" Teacher, is it possible to not shift?" Nux questioned with an awkward look on his face. "Why? Won't you be more comfortable here? I know your secret, so you can even slack off and stop restraining yourself from time to time. Isn't that better?" Arvina couldn't understand Nux's thoughts. "That is true. However, I would like to stay there." "Why?" Silence. Nux glanced at Arvina. His mind started thinking about different excuses. However, he was unable to come up with anything. Soon, however, a smile appeared on his face as he answered, "Because Teacher Yvonne is there." "Huh?" Arvina frowned. Soon her eyes widened in shock as she questioned, "Are those rumors true?" "What rumors?" The rumors about you and Yvonne being a couple? Ha, of course not. I'm not that lucky. Nux was quick to deny. Arvina sighed in relief. However, then she narrowed her eyes and questioned, "What do you mean you aren't that lucky? Does that mean you like Teacher Yvonne?" Nux then averted his eyes. "Ah, teacher, I don't have time to talk right now. Let me practice my form. I feel like I can still improve." Saying that, Nux started swinging his sword. Arvina narrowed her eyes. Although Nux didn't answer, his actions made his answers clear. This boy liked his teacher. Arvina thought about it and couldn't believe how wrong it was. She wanted to talk more about it. However, in the end, she shook her head and turned around. Seeing her walking away, Nux chuckled. Then he continued swinging his sword again. "Teacher, I will be leaving now." After the training ended, Nux bowed his head and muttered, "You're really going there, huh?" Nux just smiled, and then he turned around and left. Arvina looked at his back with an expressionless face. No one knew what she was thinking. On the other side, Nux walked into his room and then he started painting. No, he wasn't doing this to impress Yvonne. He wasn't that good, nor did he think he could become that good in the recent future. He just needed a topic two of them could talk about. Knock, knock, knock. Nux continued painting as time passed. Soon, Nux heard a knock. A smile appeared on his face, and then he opened the doors. "Teacher Yvonne, I hope you are doing well." Yvonne smiled and then walked into Nux's room. "Did you miss me, teacher?" "Honestly, I missed you a lot," Nux smiled. "Teacher Arvina told me that you became her student," Yvonne muttered. "Hee, didn't I tell you before? Remember what I said? Teacher Arvina would like me so much that she would praise me many, many times. However, it seemed that I underestimated my charm. Teacher Arvina directly took me as her student." Nux answered with a proud smile on his face. Seeing him acting like that, Yvonne couldn't help but chuckle. He has not changed at all. "I can't believe you managed to impress Teacher Arvina," Yvonne muttered. Wasn't that expected? Didn't I manage to impress Teacher Yvonne as well? Didn't I become your favorite student?" Nux brought his face close to Yvonne and muttered, "Huh? When did you become my favorite student?" Yvonne stuttered, and for some reason her face turned red. "What? I'm still not your favorite student yet?" Nux questioned with a shocked look on his face. "No, you are not. You have to work harder for that," Yvonne chuckled. "All right, come with me then. I will show you the painting I just made. This will definitely impress you, and then I will become your favorite student. I am sure of it."
"How's this? I am quite confident in this one," Nux questioned as he showed another painting to Yvain with a smile on his face. "You see, here is the knight. He came after fighting a war and is now in front of the princess." Nux then started explaining what he drew, and seeing him, Yvain smiled. "Are you going to live with Teacher Arvina from now on?" Suddenly Yvain questioned. "Knight promised to Hearing her question, Nux paused. Then a frown appeared on his face and he answered, "Of course not. Why would I do that?" "Teacher Arvina came to me. She talked about how you will be safer if you lived with her," Yvain muttered. "Safe? Teacher Yvain, have you perhaps not heard the news?" Nux questioned. "News? What news?" Yvain frowned. "Borky House is now destroyed," Nux informed nonchalantly. "Huh? How did that happen?" Yvain questioned in shock. However, Nux shook his head. "I do not know the details. However, it seems that all the cultivators who were Earl's subordinates were killed, and even Earl had both his arms chopped off. Coincidentally, it was revealed that Earl Borky had raped Baron Crook's daughter in the past. Along with this, many other crimes were revealed as well. The Earl could only compensate the victims to avoid the case in the justice court. However, the number of crimes he committed were so many that his money was spent, and even after that, someone filed a case against him for another crime.
Since the Earl lost most of his power, his allies refused to help him. His condition is quite pitiful now. Actually, I am even wondering who was the one who did something so cruel to him. He must be a cold-hearted person." Nux shook his head with an innocent look on his face. "Do you really feel that way?" Yvain questioned. Nux then looked into her eyes, and then he sighed. "No, I actually feel that the one who did it should be blessed by the gods and should achieve all the goals in his life. I truly believe that he is a kind-hearted, gentle, and handsome person," Nux replied with a smile. "That's quite the opposite of what you said," Yvain muttered. "Well, let's not talk more about this. In conclusion, now no one would attack me, so I am safe. What about Marquis Water? You have humiliated his daughter in front of half of the academy, you know." Nux smiled. "He won't do anything." "Why?" "Candace would be the one who would try to go against me." "Huh?" "Yes, I only won against Candace because she didn't use her mana. If she had used her mana, she would have defeated me easily. Therefore, Candace would be the one to take me on. Her pride won't allow her father to step in," Nux answered, and Yvain nodded in agreement. That sounded logical. "Also, who knows? If Marquis Water attacks me, that kind-hearted, gentle, and handsome person might go against him this time," Nux muttered. And again, Yvain felt that there was a hidden meaning behind his words. However, she decided to ignore it since she wasn't sure. "All in all, I am safe." "As long as I am inside the academy," Nux muttered. "Then you don't need to stay here?" Yvain questioned. "No, I must stay here. I won't leave as long as Teacher Yvain won't throw me out." Then Nux looked at Yvain as his golden eyes shined innocently. "You won't kick me out, right, Teacher Yvain? But won't you be safer living with Teacher Arvina? The room there would be a lot better than this room." "But Teacher Yvain won't be there," Nux pouted. Then his eyes shined in determination. "I must have Teacher Yvain all to myself," he declared. "Huh?" Yvain blinked a few times, and her heart skipped a beat. She then noticed that Nux's face was unusually close to hers. Her heart skipped another beat, and she quickly stepped back. "What are you talking about?" she stuttered. "I'm not lying. I need to stay with Teacher Yvain. How else am I supposed to become your favorite student?" "Huh?" Yvain frowned in confusion, and her brain stopped working for a few seconds. Then her mind started processing what Nux said, and she realized that she misunderstood what he was talking about. Her face turned red in embarrassment. "Just what am I thinking?" She couldn't think straight. "You won't kick me out, right, Teacher Yvain?" Nux, oblivious to what she was thinking, questioned with an innocent look on his face. "I won't. Don't worry," Yvain answered. Then she stood up and walked away. "It is late now. I will be leaving." "Have a wonderful night, Teacher Yvain." "Yes, you have a good night as well." I'm planning to have a blissful night," Nux answered. Yvain didn't think too much about his words. No, actually, she didn't even hear his words. She just wanted to get out of his room now. She was too embarrassed. She can't believe she misunderstood her student. She needs to meditate and calm her mind. Thinking about it, Yvain returned to her room and jumped onto her bed. On the other side, after Yvain left, a playful smile appeared on Nux. Then he looked at the time. It was 11 at the night, and there was still an hour before the day was over. Nux decided to use his daily free teleport. He disappeared and then reappeared inside Alora's room. There he saw Alora sitting on the bed, wearing a thin, see-through purple gown. Her hypnotic blue eyes shined as an alluring smile appeared on her face. "I was waiting," she whispered. "I hope you didn't wait for long." Nux smiled, and then he pulled her into his embrace. A long night followed. The next day, Nux returned to the academy. Then he attended Yvain's class, flirting with female students, ignoring the boys, and bullying the timid Muriel. Then the class ended, Teacher Yvain left, and Nux left as well. However, as soon as he walked out of the door, a blue-haired girl appeared in front of him with a disdainful smile on her face. As soon as Nux walked out of his classroom, a familiar blue-haired girl appeared in front of him. Nux paused. A smile appeared on Candace's face. "You ran away pretty quickly, huh?" Candace commented. "Were you so excited that you won against me that you took a week's leave just so you could digest the victory?" Despite doing her best to provoke him, Candace failed to achieve her goal. Instead, a small smile appeared on Nux's face as he greeted her. "Yo, if it isn't the ex-queen of the academy. How are you doing?" Candace's face twitched in annoyance. "What did you say?" she questioned. Mind you, in these last few days, Candace has regained quite a bit of her reputation. She became the personal student of the headmaster of the academy, after all. Of course, Nux didn't care about something like that. Did I hit you a little too hard? Were your ears damaged?" Nux questioned in worry. "Have you taken a healing potion? What did the medics say?" The more he questioned, the more Candace's body trembled in frustration. "You bastard! Remember, you only won because I didn't use mana. If we had fought fairly, you wouldn't have lasted for a second." Nux smiled. "You bitch, remember you can only say this because you are a master stage cultivator. If you were only an advanced stage cultivator, you wouldn't have lasted for a second." "Eh?" Candace turned silent and looked at Nux with a blank look on her face. "Does your words even make sense? What's the point of talking about it when I am already a master stage cultivator?" "Exactly," Nux nodded. Candace frowned in confusion. However, soon she realized what Nux was trying to say. A vein popped on her forehead as she yelled in frustration. "You bastard! Both the conditions are different. In our battle, I was the one who held back. As for the cultivation, you weren't forced to hold back. You're just not talented enough. We are different." "We are different indeed," Nux admitted. Then Candace smiled. However, before she could celebrate her victory, Nux continued. "I wasn't the one who kowtowed in front of the whole academy and rubbed my nose on the ground." "You bastard!" Candace roared in rage, and suddenly, a hearty laughter was heard. Nux frowned, and then his eyes fell on the bald man who stood behind Candace and was laughing non-stop. "Teacher, stop laughing!" Candace screamed. The man she called teacher, however, continued to laugh, and only after laughing for a good minute did he finally calm down. "I can't believe there is someone who can handle my student so easily, even though he's weaker than her. It is quite amusing to see her reactions." Nux glanced at the man, and then his golden eyes shined brightly. "Name, Eliard Kingson. Age, 173. Mana cultivation. King. Body cultivation. Mortal. Race. Human. Occupation. Headmaster of the Royal Academy. Talent. High. LVL. 62. HP. 720 out of 720. MP, 1,420 out of 1,420, STR, 70, AGL, 78, VIT, 72, STM, 72, INT, 142, DEF, 64. Oh, so he is her new teacher, Nux realized. This man was the headmaster of the Royal Academy, a man who was as strong as the king and the strongest existence in this academy. However, how do I say, kind of disappointing? Nux thought inwardly. He thought that a king stage cultivator would be a bit stronger than this man. However, he was wrong. Is the emperor stage the same as well? Nux thought inwardly. However, soon Amaya's warning echoed in his mind. Emperors are different. Nux's gaze turned serious. He shouldn't be too careless and should stick to his plans. There is no need to rush things. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Eliard Kingson, the headmaster of the academy. Eliard introduced with a smile on his face. He was a 1.8-meter tall man with a large build. He had brown eyes, a straight nose, thin eyebrows, and no hair on his head. He wore a lavish purple-colored coat and was looking at Nux with a smile on his face. "Ah, greetings, headmaster." Nux bowed his head a little and greeted. And I am also this girl's new teacher." Eliard pointed at Candace and informed. "My condolences." Nux lowered his head as if he was actually sad for him. Candace's mouth twitched again. However, before she could react, Eliard laughed out loud. No, this is nothing to feel bad about. Rather, she is a rare gem that learns everything like a sponge. She will become a great cultivator in the future. I am proud to be her teacher." A smile appeared on Candace's face. "Ah, I'm sure that would be the case," Nux nodded. However, with how indifferent and unnatural his movements looked, even a child could tell that he was faking it. Teacher Arvina just didn't teach me well, else I wouldn't have lost against you," Candace snorted. "My condolences." Nux turned towards Eliard and lowered his head again. "Huh? Why?" Eliard frowned. "With how she is, I'm sure this girl will challenge me again. Then when she loses, she'll say the same thing again. Teacher Eliard just didn't teach me well, else I wouldn't have lost against you. I just hope that the headmaster won't be too heartbroken," Nux muttered, and Candace's face turned red in anger. This bastard was really good at getting on her nerves. "You bastard! That is not an excuse. Teacher Arvina only taught me one move and then told me to keep on repeating it again and again. Just what type of crazy person keep practicing what he already knows? How will one progress like that?" Nux, however, just shook his head. "Nah, you were just not good enough." "Huh?" Candace frowned. "I started training with teacher yesterday, and she already taught me 3 moves." "Huh?" Candace's eyes widened in surprise. "All right, we're not here to compare the 2 teachers," the headmaster interjected. Then he turned towards Nux and questioned, "Nux Leander, I am here to ask you, how about you become my personal student as well?" "How about you become my personnel student as well?" Eliard questioned with a small smile on his face. "Huh?" Candace's eyes widened in surprise when she heard her teacher. She didn't know that was what Eliard was planning when he asked her to take him to Nux. If she knew that, she would have tried to change the topic to something else, or would have made another excuse. There was no way she would allow Nux to become Eliard's student as well. Her life would become a living hell if she saw his face more than 2 times a day. Not only Candace, but even the students who were hearing their conversation from behind were shocked as well. That was the headmaster. To think that the headmaster would personally come here to ask Nux to become his student. Just how big of an opportunity and honor is that? The students looked at Nux with eyes full of reverence and envy. Nux, however, didn't seem very affected and answered with a nonchalant look. "No, I don't want to." "Huh?" Eliard, Candace, and all the other students blinked a few times, unable to believe what Nux just said. "What did you say?" Eliard questioned, just to be sure. "I said that I don't want to become your student," Nux answered. "Is there a reason why you don't want to become my student?" Eliard, who still couldn't believe that he was rejected, questioned. As for the reasons, well, there were many, but the most important one was that Eliard wasn't a woman. Nux was still in his teens, his years where he would spend his youth amidst fresh flower fields. He would of course not spend time with a 100-plus-years-old bald dude like him. He wanted to spend time with flowers, not with dirty old mud. Of course, a 100-plus-years-old beautiful, mature woman was very, very welcomed. However, he can't say this reason out loud. Therefore, he had to give another reason. "I trust that Teacher Arvina would be able to bring the best out of me." "But I am stronger than Teacher Arvina, you know," Eliard muttered. "Huh? What the hell is going on here?" A small smile appeared on Nux's face when he heard a cold voice. Then he turned towards his beautiful, matured, and wild teacher and smiled. "They are trying to recruit your cute and hard-working student, Teacher Arvina." He simply pointed at the headmaster and walked towards Arvina. "I, of course, rejected. How can I ever leave you?" Nux muttered. Arvina didn't react to his words and directly turned towards the headmaster. "Headmaster, I didn't know you were so interested in my students," she commented. "Ah, it isn't like that, Vice Headmaster Arvina. As you know, both Candace Water and Nux Leander are gems of our academy. We have to focus on both of them, do we not? So I thought it would be better if both students got equal opportunities to grow." "That is good thinking, Headmaster. But don't you think it would be unfair to these gems if we just provide them average teaching, even though we have better teachers, just for the sake of being impartial?" Arvina smiled, and Iliard's face twitched in annoyance. Did she just call me an average teacher? He gritted his teeth inwardly. However, in the end, he controlled himself and smiled. "Nux, are you sure you do not want the chance to learn under a king-state cultivator? It's a rare opportunity, you know. Not everyone will get a chance like this." Nux just smiled. "I want to stay by my teacher's side." He refused politely. However, inwardly he was cursing this man. "Just leave us alone, you baldy, or do you want me to smack that shiny-looking head of yours?" "All right, I hope you won't regret your decision in the future." Iliard smiled and turned around. "Let's leave, Candace." Yes, teacher." Candace turned around. However, before she left, she glanced at Nux and smirked. Nux smiled, and then he pointed at his foot. Candace lowered her head and noticed that Nux was moving his foot as if he was stepping on something. Her eyes widened in anger when she realized what he was hinting about. Then she glared at Nux and turned around. "Just you wait, you bastard. I will make sure you pay," she swore inwardly. Actually, after she became headmaster's student and regained a bit of her reputation, she tried to use her newly gained dogs to go after Nux. However, as soon as those dogs heard Nux's name, they refused. Their answer was simple. If even Lady Candace was unable to defeat that man, how are we supposed to do it? Candace always turned silent when they said something like that. This further increased her anger towards Nux. Of course, Nux didn't care what she felt. He just turned towards Arvina and sighed of relief. "Ha! Teacher, thank God you are here. I was so scared. I thought they were going to kidnap me." Seeing him acting like that, Arvina couldn't help but shake her head and chuckle. "You really like drama, don't you?" "It was entertaining," Nux chuckled. "But I never thought that the headmaster would actually come and try to recruit me," Nux commented. "Tisk, tisk, that baldy dares to recruit my student. Arrogant," Arvina smarted. "Arrogant baldy, indeed," Nux nodded. "Oi, show some respect. He's the headmaster of this academy," Arvina muttered. Nux turned silent and looked at Arvina with a deadpan look on his face. "Follow me. We are already late." "All right." Saying that, the two of them walked towards Arvina's mansion and left. Did the headmaster and vice-headmaster fight each other for a student? After they left, one of the students came out of his reverie and muttered. "That is what I saw," another student nodded. "Just how good one has to be for two highest-ranking individuals in the academy to fight over him like this. And how can he just refuse the headmaster like it's nothing? Stop thinking about it. We and he live in two different worlds. Go back to your class."
All right, you should rest now. This is enough for today." Arvina instructed as a sigh escaped her mouth. Her wooden sword disappeared and she sat on a chair with a tired look on her face. Beads of sweat could be seen on her forehead and she was breathing heavily. A handkerchief then appeared in her hands and she started wiping her face. Then her eyes fell on Nux, who was lying on the floor with slightly hurried breathing and a calm look on his face. Seeing that, Arvina couldn't help but sigh. "You don't look very tired," she muttered. "I may not look like it, but trust me, teacher, I am very tired," Nux answered.
With how even his voice was, even a child could tell that he wasn't tired at all, and actually it made complete sense for him to not be tired. Even though he was limiting his cultivation to Grandmaster stage, even at that time his stamina was a lot higher than a normal expert stage cultivator. There's no way he would tire himself before an expert stage cultivator. He was just too strong. Don't even try to deny it. I know you're not the least bit tired. She shook her head. She had already accepted that her disciple was a monster. His attack, defense, stamina, speed, everything was way higher than any normal Grandmaster stage cultivator she has ever met. Heck, she might even be better than normal expert stage cultivators at this point. And things did not end here. And I can't believe that you can now spar with me in just 1 month. That is a monstrous progress. Yes, 1 month has passed since Nux started learning from Arvina, and Arvina only had one comment. Just don't compare Nux with anyone at all. Nux was so good that it was sometimes frustrating. Arvina's teaching style was simple. She had a bunch of moves that she teaches her students, they practice them, and doesn't move to the next move unless her students mastered the previous one. Usually a talented student needs around 2 to 3 months to master one move. Nux, however, was completely different. His body was too strange. It was as if his body was made for swords and fighting. 5 times he only needed to practice the moves 5 times at max, and his body would be able to replicate that move perfectly. Yes, what took other students months, Nux did that in a matter of minutes. Actually, if it wasn't for Arvina doubting and checking his mastered move countless times, he would have finished his training a lot sooner. Nux only needed 15 days to learn all her moves, and since then they have been sparring with each other. At first, Nux was having difficulties fighting without using his mana and using the sword moves he has learned just a few days ago. However, the more they sparred, the smoother his movement got, and he integrated her moves into his own fighting style. Yes, he did not change his fighting style, he just integrated her teachings into his own fighting style. He even did some changes and made her moves more comfortable and stronger for him. In just 15 more days, Nux improved to the extent that he was able to spar with Arvina for 6 hours straight. And the one who usually ends the fight is not him, but Arvina, since she would be too tired to continue. As for Nux, he would just pretend to be tired, while he would continue to move around without any problems. Arvina finds that very shameful, however, there was nothing she could do about it. Nux was a complete monster. All she could do now was move on to the next step, a step she doesn't usually teach to other students. However, since she had such a gem as her student, she would do her best to refine him. "All right, from tomorrow we will move to the second step of our training," Arvina muttered. "Huh? Second step?" Nux stood up and questioned. Seeing her standing up so casually, Arvina's face twitched. "Weren't you tired? At least act like you are." Arvina then shook her head to get rid of these useless thoughts and nodded. "Yes, the second step. From now on we will use mana as well. We will be fighting each other with real swords, and usage of skills is allowed. Your training is over. From now on, you will learn how the actual swordsmen fight," Arvina muttered with a big smile on her face. Her smile then widened even more, and she warned Nux, "Be careful, Nux. This will be dangerous, and you would need lots of healing potions in the upcoming days. Be prepared." Seeing her laughing like that, Nux chuckled as well. Her warrior-like aura was practically oozing out of her right now. Nux then looked at her and started thinking. He has been with her for a month now. He now has a decent idea about her character and what sort of person she is like. Now Nux started thinking about doing what he actually came here for. Strengthen his relationship with Arvina Skyfall, not as a teacher, but as a lover. And he had come up with the perfect plan to do that. A warrior like Arvina only likes 2 things about another person: potential to topple all others, and diligence and commitment to stand on top. His plan was simple. He just needs to defeat Arvina Skyfall. However, he cannot do that as Grand Master Stage Cultivator. That would destroy her pride. Therefore, he had to do it as an expert stage cultivator. "Teacher," Nux called. Do you have any questions?" "I want to spar with you." "Didn't we spar just now?" "No, I'm not talking about that. I'm actually talking about a real fight, a real one-on-one, warrior against warrior spar." "Huh? But you're a grand—" Before Arvina could complete, Nux removed his trickster, and Arvina's eyes widened in shock and horror.
Expert stage? Arvina's face paled in horror. A 19-year-old Grand Master Stage Cultivator was unbelievable? What about this, then? Does this make any sense? Arvina was at a loss of words. "You are already an expert stage cultivator?" she stuttered as her expression continued to change, from shock to amazement to doubt to acceptance, and then tensed. Nux didn't fail to notice it, and soon he frowned. "Teacher, why the tensed look?" Arvina looked at Nux's face and muttered with a solemn look on her face, "You are more talented than I thought." "Huh? Isn't that a good thing? Why do you look so tensed?" Nux couldn't understand. What teacher makes a face like this when she finds out that her student is talented? Shouldn't she be beaming in immense joy? "This is not a good thing at all," Arvina muttered. "Why? If it is revealed, you will be killed." "Huh? That would have happened even if my talent was the same as what you thought it was, won't it? Why do you look so tensed right now?" Arvina, however, shook her head. "No, that is not true earlier. Even if your talent was revealed, I could have protected you even from the king of the kingdom. However, now, things aren't the same. The dukes and the king would come after you no matter what, and this time I won't be able to protect you either." Arvina's expression wasn't good at all. Nux, however, couldn't understand what she was talking about and frowned. "Teacher, isn't my talent being better a good thing? I can get stronger faster, and with the way I'm going, I won't need more than a decade to become a king stage cultivator. And once I become a king stage expert, I would become one of the strongest people in this kingdom. Won't that make me safe? I just need to stay inside the academy for a while, and then I can do whatever I want. Isn't that a good thing?" Nux questioned. Arvina glanced at Nux, who was looking at her with a curious look on his face. In the end, she couldn't help but sigh. What she was about to say now, by no means this should be told to anyone else. It is the top secret of Skyfall Kingdom, and was not something she could share with just anyone. However, Nux was not just anyone for her now. He was her student, therefore she decided to trust him. "Nux, things aren't as simple as that." "What do you mean? Do you know why the king is able to rule over the kingdom even though there are around 5 or 6 more king stage cultivators here?" "Huh?" Nux frowned in confusion. "This does sound strange. How is the king doing it?" he questioned with a confused look on his face. However, inwardly, a sly smile appeared on his face. Internally, a sly smile appeared on his face. She is finally going to be honest with me. This was a good sign. At the very least, it showed him that Arvina trusted him. Things were going smoother than he expected. "Do you know why I'm confident in being able to protect you, even if all the king stage cultivators in the country come after you?" Nux frowned even more. "That is because of my teacher." "Teacher?" Nux frowned, and this time he frowned for real. "Yes, my teacher, Asteria Skyfall, an Emperor stage cultivator." Arvina then told him about Asteria Skyfall and her relationship with her, something she must never share with anyone, because if this was leaked, someone might take advantage of Asteria using Arvina. However, in the end, she decided to trust her disciple and told him everything. "Nux, things aren't as simple as that." "What do you mean?" "At first, if something goes wrong, I would have asked for Teacher Asteria's help, and she would have protected you.
Actually, I was thinking of training you as the next protector of the kingdom, Arvina muttered. Huh? Nux frowned. He did not expect something like that. I wanted you to become the next Emperor stage cultivator. Do you know why Candace Water is so valued? Do you know why I had to bear with her as my student even though she was so lazy and arrogant? Do you know why the headmaster took her in as his student even though she lost against you? Wait. Nux realized something. Yes, Candace Water is a candidate to become the next protector of the kingdom. A talent like her is rare. However, talent alone can't do anything. You need to work hard as well. She didn't work hard. That was her negligence. However, with how valuable Candace Water is, we simply can't give up on her. Exceptional level affinity is required if one wants to become an Emperor stage cultivator, and in the last 100 years, only Candace has that affinity. That was the reason why the headmaster took her in as his student. He didn't know about your absurd talent. In his eyes, Candace was the only one. He just wants his student to be the next protector of the kingdom, since that would raise his status and his name would be written down in history. Isn't that like brainwashing? Nux narrowed his eyes. However, he didn't voice out his thoughts. He had more questions. And you wanted me to become the next protector of the kingdom. This was something he did not like. That is the only way you can ensure your safety, Arvina answered. Nux narrowed his eyes. He did not like her answer. However, after thinking about it, he wasn't very disappointed either. In the end, Arvina was only thinking about his sake. Then what is the problem now? Why can't I be the protector now? Isn't my talent being better than what you expected a good thing? I can get stronger faster, and with the way I'm going, I won't need more than a decade to become a king stage cultivator. And once I become a king stage expert, I would become one of the strongest people in this kingdom. Won't that make me safe? I just need to stay inside the academy for a while, and then I can do whatever I want. Isn't that a good thing? Your talent is too good. It is simply absurd. If before I predicted that you would become an Emperor stage cultivator in 70 to 80 years, then now you would only need 30, and 30 years is not enough to make you loyal to the kingdom. Not only that, but Teacher Asteria still has 200 years left. If you become an Emperor stage cultivator in 30 years, then she would think that you would try to go against her, and someone as talented as you would be a troublesome opponent. Therefore, to get rid of the future trouble, she will get rid of me. Before Arvina could, Nux completed her sentence. Arvina looked at Nux with a solemn look on her face, and then she nodded. Yes, she would. And if she comes for me, there is no way I would be able to survive. There is no chance. An emperor is different. No matter how strong you get, even if you get to the peak of king stage and have a few more king stage cultivators helping you, the chances of surviving against an emperor are nil. Nux turned silent. He didn't like where this conversation was going, especially the part where he realized why Arvina was training him. However, not everything was bad. Actually, he might get something even better out of this. Nux smiled inwardly and questioned, "Why are you telling me all this?" "Huh? You and the Dowager are close to each other, correct? Then why would you tell me all this and alert me? Won't it be better for you to just directly report her and then have me killed?" "Huh?" Arvina's frown deepened. Then she thought a little more about it and finally realized what Nux was talking about. She chuckled. "Are you thinking that I would let you get killed because of my good relationship with the Dowager? Well, isn't that logical? Nux Leander, you are my, Arvina Skyfall's student. There is no way I'm letting you die," Arvina declared. "Huh? Isn't Dowager Astaria your teacher? If she wants to kill me, then why would you go against her and defend me?" Nux questioned. She is my teacher, and I am her student. That does not mean that I am her slave with no will of my own. If I want to protect my student, I will do it, even if I have to go against my teacher," Arvina declared without a hint of hesitation in her eyes. Hearing that, Nux smiled. Arvina was thinking about him and was even willing to go against her teacher to protect him. He liked that a lot. "However, how are you going to protect me? As you said, she is an emperor stage cultivator. There is no way we will be able to win against her," Nux muttered. "Who said we're going to fight with her?" "Huh?" Nux's frown deepened. This time he really couldn't understand what his teacher was talking about. "The plan is simple. Candace will order it, and you will be assassinated," Arvina smiled. "Huh?" Nux's frown deepened. This time he really couldn't understand what his teacher was talking about. "The biggest problem is that you will be noticed by others eventually, and even if you have that weird ability to hide your cultivation, in front of a true expert, your cultivation will be exposed. That would be the end of you. Therefore, you cannot appear in public. However, with how you defeated Candace, you cannot do something like that. Therefore, from now on, you will annoy Candace to the point that her life will become a living hell. In anger, she will talk to her father, and Marquis Water will send assassins after you. The assassins will kill you. Then Nux Leander would be dead. I will arrange a house for you that is far from the capital city. You will live in that place and cultivate silently. Take as much time as you need, cultivate and grow stronger. Then, once you become an emperor stage cultivator, you will be safe from all the dangers," Arvina revealed her plan. This plan was the most optimal and efficient one out of all others. This was definitely the best choice if Nux was a normal cultivator. However, Nux was not a normal cultivator. He was a pleasure cultivator. In order for him to grow stronger, he would need to have sex with stronger women. He is not someone who can live in seclusion, cultivate freely, and get stronger. That is just not possible for him. Therefore, he needs to find another way to deal with this situation. Nux started thinking. However, he noticed that a strange look appeared on Arvina's face. "Is there anything wrong, Teacher Arvina?" he questioned. "Huh? I have one request that I hope you will fulfill it." "What is it?" Nux questioned. "I want you to lay low as long as my teacher is alive, even after you become an emperor stage cultivator. I don't want the two of you to clash against each other. You both are precious part of my life. My teacher will leave this world within 200 years. An emperor stage cultivator can live for 500 years. You would still have 300 years left. After she leaves, you can become the protector of this kingdom. I would have no problems with that," Arvina muttered. However, a frown appeared on Nux's face. "I will, of course, do my best to avoid a fight against the Dowager. However, Teacher Arvina, what do you mean by becoming the protector of the kingdom after she dies?" "Huh? What kind of question is that? The protector's position is well respected by all. Even the king would have to bow his head in front of you. Anyone would want that kind of power. Why would you not want it?" "Huh? What power? What respect? How many people in this world know about the Dowager? How many people know about the secret protector of the kingdom? Barely 10. Won't I just become a shadow living in dark without doing anything?" Arvina turned silent. She cannot deny Nux's words. However, soon a frown appeared on her face. "What is your plan then?" A small smile appeared on Nux's face as he revealed,
"What do you want to do then?" Arvina questioned with a frown on her face. "Why not aim higher? Why don't I become the king of the kingdom?" Nux smiled. No, he wasn't stupid. He knew the risks. He knew well enough that telling his goals to Arvina was very risky right now. However, Arvina was someone who placed her trump card in front of him. She told her about the existence of Astaria Skyfall and her relationship with her. This relationship was a double-edged sword. She can use it against people stronger than her and do things her own way. However, if this news is leaked, She would be in trouble as people would come after her and would try to capture her in order to have a high ground against an emperor stage cultivator. She was practically putting her life on the line by telling this to Nux. However, she still did it. Therefore, Nux decided to risk it as well. "What did you say?" Arvina narrowed her eyes when she heard Nux's words. "I said that there is no need to become the protector. If I am the strongest, shouldn't I become the ruler? Strength rules this world. Shouldn't I be placed at the top since I am the most powerful? Why should I become a chained dog who is caged in one castle and has the duty to protect it?" "Protector is not a dog," Arvina glared at Nux. "Oh, please, teacher, you of all people should talk like that. All right, tell me, what does Dowager Astaria do all day? Where does she live? When does she enjoy her life? Why can no one ever see her? When does she leave the palace or even her room?" Nux continued to question, and Arvina turned silent. She knew answered to all his questions, however she didn't want to say it. Her teacher, Dowager Astaria, lives in the most lavish room of the palace, a room that is exactly behind the throne room, the complete center of the palace. However, although it may sound very grand and impressive, in reality, that room is also a cage that binds her teacher. Her teacher rarely comes out of that room. What she does inside that room, no one knows. What she does in order to enjoy her life, no one knows. The more she thought about it, the more Arvina felt that Nux's words were correct. Her teacher was caged. Seeing that her expression was changing, Nux smiled, and then he continued. "The current king of the Skyfall Kingdom, what does he have? What makes him the king of our kingdom? What good things has he ever done? I have heard countless times that he is an average king. Why is an average man like him allowed to become the king?" Hearing about the current king, Arvina's eyes turned cold. Nux noticed that, and his smile widened. This is good. She doesn't like the current king. Rather, from her expression, it is clear that she hates him. "King, my amazing friend, you are just amazing. Thank you very much, friend." Nux smiled inwardly, and then he continued. "Instead of a man like him, isn't it better for someone like me to become the king? I am sure I can do a far better job than him." Nux smiled. However, suddenly he noticed Arvina's expression changed into a smirk. "You want to become the king?" She looked at him with a disdainful look on her face. Nux wanted to answer. However, before he could, Arvina interrupted. "You think you can do a better job than the current king?" Again, Nux was interrupted. "So what if you can?" "Huh? There are many people who can do a far better job than him. Heck, even a random commoner might be able to do better than him. However, if that is the case, then why was he the one who became the king? Haven't you ever wondered that?" Nux turned silent. "Let me answer that question for you. The reason behind it is that he has Skyfall blood flowing through his veins. No, Skyfall blood doesn't have any unique property. It's the same as any other humans. However, right now, inside the Skyfall Kingdom, having Skyfall blood in your veins means that you are blessed. It doesn't matter how bad he will become the king just because he is a Skyfall. That fact will remain unchanged until someone topples up the royal family. Do you think a slightly better than the average leader can topple up the royal family? Do you think an average leader would be able to rule the kingdom after creating a chaos like that? What about the ministers? What about the other nobles? Dukes, marquises, earls, viscounts, and barons? What about the common people who are fed up after being ruled for so many years and want to live their own life as they want? What about the opposite kingdom who will direct their fangs towards us as soon as we show them our weak side? Do you think you can take all of that yourself? Do you think you are good enough to take care of all that trouble?" Nux turned silent. Arvina, however, wasn't done yet. It is very simple to just say, "I want to become the king." However, it is not easy to become one. What is your goal? Why do you want to become the king? What is the reason? Do you have anything like that? Or do you want to become the king just because it sounds cool?
Arvina questioned, and again Nux was speechless. Goal. What was his goal? Why was his reason to become the king? Did he even have any reason? Seeing him staying silent, Arvina scoffed. Nux, what you are thinking right now is nothing but an immature fantasy. You are too immature to take that burden. The current king might be an average king, however, the kingdom is stable, and I am sorry to say this right in front of you, but this kingdom will not be stable if you take over as the king. You are still too immature for that. As you are right now, you do not have what it takes to overthrow the Skyfall family and rule the kingdom as the king.
As you are right now, you do not have what it takes to overthrow the Skyfall family and rule the kingdom as the king. Arvina spoke bluntly without hiding her thoughts. Nux, who heard her words, couldn't help but lower his head. This time he had no answers to her questions. His teacher was right. He had no goals, no reason, and no determination to become the king. He does not know about politics, he does not know about ruling, he does not know about etiquette, and neither does he know about what it means to be the king. All in all, he has no qualities to become a king. The current king might not be a good king, however, Nux might not be any better than him either. Actually, the whole idea of becoming the king was something he came up with on a whim. He was indeed too immature. Nux realized it, and as if seeing through his thoughts, a small smile appeared on Arvina's face, and she questioned, "Nux, do you know what your weakness is?" "What is it?" Nux questioned. "Your talent is too high." Nux frowned. "You are absurdly talented, Nux. Of course it is a good thing, however, it is a double-edged sword. Since you are too talented, you grow faster than others and face fewer challenges compared to normal people. Everything is too easy for you. Therefore, you take things too nonchalantly. You are too carefree and easygoing. In other words, your high talent has made you arrogant and immature. You do not understand the actual hardships in this world. This is your weakness," Arvina muttered, and Nux listened to her words attentively. He couldn't deny her this time as well. She was right again. However, this does not mean that you cannot change or not improve. Suddenly, Arvina smiled. Nux looked in her direction and frowned. "All you lack is maturity. You are just 18 years old, after all. You haven't seen the world yet. All you have to do is explore the world, and eventually you will learn everything by your own." Arvina smiled, and Nux nodded in understanding. "However, I know you are not patient enough for that long. Therefore, I have a perfect opportunity for you. An opportunity where you can see the truth of this world. An opportunity where you can grow without any limits." Saying that, a golden-colored badge appeared in Arvina's hand as she smiled. "An opportunity that can turn you from an 18-year-old immature child to a grown-up veteran. Nux Leander, would you like to take hold of this opportunity?" Arvina questioned. A determined look appeared on Nux's face as he questioned, "What is it?" Arvina smiled. She has indeed not judged her student incorrectly. She then gave the badge in her hand to Nux and informed him, "The Woods Dynasty and the Solid Earth Kingdom are at war with each other." "Huh?" Nux frowned. "I want you to take this pass to the general of the Woods Dynasty and join the war." "You want me to take part in war?" "That is the only place that can help you grow the fastest," Arvina replied with a stern look on her face. "Of course, you can reject the offer and take things slowly. I have nothing against that either," she added. "I need some time to think," Nux muttered. He cannot answer this right away. He had to discuss it with his women. They were an active component of his life after all. They deserved to hear what has happened and had the right to say what they think. "All right, I will give you a week to think about it. You can answer me after that." Arvina nodded. Nux nodded back, and then he bowed.
Then I will be taking my leave, Teacher Arvina. Arvina nodded. Nux then turned around and started walking towards his room. At the same time, he used harem seal and started talking with his women. Huh? Is that bitch crazy? Why would she send you to war? As Nux returned to his room and explained everything to his women, Edda shouted out loud. I agree with Sister Edda. Why would send you to fight a war? This is ridiculous. Skyla nodded as well. Agreed, Lane nodded. You do not have to go, Nux. Just leave that bitch alone. Something is wrong with her head. Filberta nodded her head. Indeed, just leave her alone. Yeah, she just doesn't know how awesome you are, Nux. You can do anything, Nux. I agree. I agree. The other women nodded their heads as well. However, no, she is not wrong. The women then heard a voice. What are you talking about, Sister Thyra? Skyla questioned. As I said, Arvina isn't wrong. Nux is indeed a little immature and is not ready to take over the throne. Nux, you still haven't killed a human yet, have you? She questioned. Nux turned silent as he realized it. He has tortured humans, however, he has never killed anyone with his own hands. Why? Was it because he was still used to thinking like a human from the 21st century? No, that should not be the case. For a 21st century human, torturing someone is strange and scary as well. That is definitely not the case. Then why? Why hasn't he killed anyone yet? Nux thought to himself. You see, you haven't even killed a human yet. How can you become the king of the country? This is a great opportunity, Nux. Participating in a war will help you a lot, and you will grow splendidly. I agree with Thyra. Amaya nodded in agreement as well. Nux, you should not miss this chance. Yes, I'm even thinking of continuing our training in this war, Thyra muttered. Huh? You are coming with me? Yes, however, it will only be the two of us. Huh? No fair, Skyla complained. Disagree, Lane nodded her head. I will come with you as well. I would like to know how having sex in the middle of a war feels like. Edda smiled. I will come with you as well. I would like to know how having sex in the middle of the war feels like. No, I will be going with him, alone. Thyra, however, didn't agree. Huh? Who gave you the right to decide that? Amaya countered. Indeed, you have no right to decide something like that. Don't be too arrogant. Allura nodded as well. Yes, it is completely unfair that only Sister Thyra would be able to have sex with Nux. I want to join as well, Skyla muttered. Yes, you can't have him all to yourself, Felberta nodded. You guys, have you forgotten about the harem's gate? Suddenly Thyra questioned. Look, Nux has Heaven's Gate now. He would be able to visit every one of you every other day because he would have one free teleportation every day. I am not being selfish or something. However, the next part of Nux's training has to be done practically. Nux needs to kill people in order to learn that. I hope you guys understand. If you guys think it is unfair, then I am ready to promise you all that I will not have sex with him for 1 whole month. Thyra muttered, and the women turned silent. They could feel Thyra's sincerity. Yes, now, promising to not have sex with Nux was a new way of showing their sincerity. It was a big sacrifice after all. So anyways, the ladies could feel Thyra's sincerity from her words. She really wanted well for Nux. All right, I agree. You can go with him. Surprisingly, Amaya was the first one to agree. And you do not have to stop yourself from having sex with him. We do not control yours or Nux's life. Do what you wish. However, I want Nux to come meet us once every 2 days, Amaya muttered. Yeah, I want that as well. Yes, that would be good. Indeed, indeed. A small smile appeared on Nux's face when he heard the ladies talking to each other. They might fight and bicker with each other, however, their relationship was strong. He enjoys listening to their conversations. "Nux, you were going to meet us regularly, correct?" Felberta questioned. "Hey? Is that even a question? You guys think I can live without you all?" Nux questioned back. "Of course not. There is no way you can leave this marsh of forbidden pleasure you have created. Nux Leander, you are trapped with all of us." Amaya smiled and muttered seductively. I wonder what having sex while sinking in a marsh would feel like," Etta muttered curiously. "All right, then it is decided. I and Nux will go to the Woods dynasty together," Thyra concluded. I have no problems." "I agree as well." Yep, the girl nodded. Yes, all of them collectively agreed to ignore the perverted Etta. Etta, however, was used to it. She would personally talk about it with Nux later. Foo. This seemed interesting indeed. The conversation ended, and Nux and the girls talked about another topic while Nux continued to complete the painting he was drawing. Time passed, and soon it was time for Nux to meet Yvain. He stood up and walked towards her room in the night and knocked. Knock, knock, knock. "Come in." Nux then heard Yvain's voice. He entered, and Yvain, who was panting, looked at him with a smile on her face. "How was your day?" she questioned in a gentle tone. In this past month, the two of them have gotten closer and closer. She didn't treat Nux as her student anymore. They were more like friends who shared a common interest with each other. And since they are busy during the day, they often met at the night. What? It was strange for them to meet at the night? Oh, come on. That is so old school way of thinking. There is nothing wrong with two friends meeting each other at the night. What could possibly go wrong? "It was good. I completed the painting I was working on," Nux answered. "Oh, show me. "Ah, I can't. The paints haven't dried off yet." I will wait for tomorrow then." I will wait for you in my room," Nux nodded. "What about you? What are you making?" Nux questioned, as he dragged a chair towards Yvain and sat next to her, as if it was the most normal thing in this world. Then he started looking at her painting. I see a man wearing armor walking towards a girl wearing expensive clothes. It feels like a knight and a princess." "You are correct," Yvain nodded with a smile. But what is that red part on the knight's cheek?" Nux questioned. "Blood." "Huh?" Nux was taken aback. Usually, Yvain's paintings were all about happy things, flowers, stars, rivers, and all that. For her to draw something like blood was pretty unusual. "The knight has returned after winning the war and now is meeting the love of his life, the princess," Yvain explained. "Oh ho, what a coincidence," Nux smiled. What coincidence?" "I was about to talk to you about war as well," Nux muttered. "Huh?" Yvain frowned. "Teacher Yvain, you know about the war between the Solid Earth Kingdom and the Woods dynasty, correct?" "I've heard about it." "I am going to join it," Nux informed. "What?" Yvain's eyes widened in surprise. "What did you say?" "I am going to join that war." "Huh? No way! Are you crazy?" Yvain shouted. "Teacher Arvina wants me to join the war. She told me that I am too immature right now, therefore I need to experience war to grow up." "Is she crazy? You're an 18-year-old boy. Of course you're immature. Does she want you to think like a 50-year-old man?" Yvain couldn't believe her ears. Suddenly, a determined look appeared on her face, and she muttered, "No, I need to talk to her. Teacher Arvina is out of mind. How can she send an advanced stage cultivator to a war? This is unacceptable." Yvain stood up. However, just as she was about to leave, Nux muttered, "Teacher Yvain, I am not an advanced stage cultivator." "Teacher Yvain, I am not an advanced stage cultivator," Nux muttered. "Huh? What do you mean?" Yvain turned around and frowned. However, her frown only deepened when she saw Nux's solemn face. This was the first time she has seen that expression on his. Even while facing Candace Water, he didn't look like this tensed. Teacher Yvain, what I'm going to tell you right now, I hope you can keep it a secret from others. If not, I would lose my life, Nux muttered. What? Teacher Yvain, can I trust you? Nux questioned with a solemn look on his face. Seeing his expression, Yvain's heart skipped a beat, and unconsciously she nodded her head. Yes, Nux smiled, and then he deactivated Trickster. Soon Yvain's eyebrows rose up and her mouth widened in shock. Expert stage? She muttered inwardly, unable to believe what she was thinking. Teacher Arvina is not a fool, Teacher Yvain. She knows how strong I am. That is why she wants me to participate in this war, Nux muttered. So Teacher Arvina already knew about it? Yvain couldn't help but question. She did, Nux nodded. Didn't you say that I was your favorite teacher? Yvain's face turned red as she questioned. For some reason, she didn't like the fact that some other teacher knew more about her student than she did. Even she was confused and didn't know why she was feeling something like that. Many teachers know more about the students in her class than her. However, she had never felt something like this. However, for some reason, Arvina knowing more about Nux than her, this didn't sit well with her. She actually felt betrayed. Nux wasn't a dense idiot as well. He understood what she was feeling as soon as he saw her face, and a playful smile appeared on his face. I didn't tell Teacher Arvina myself. She was the one who found out. That day, I thought it was the end of me. However, Teacher Arvina was generous enough to keep this a secret. What? Nux looked at Nux. Yes. Teacher Arvina found out about this when I fought against Candace. She noticed that my movements looked like I was holding back and started observing me. That was when she found out. I was not the one who told her. Teacher Yvain, you are the first person in this academy who I trust enough to share my secret on my own accord. Nux nodded. A small smile appeared on Yvain's face when she heard Nux's words. For some reason, this felt good. I hope you can keep it a secret, Teacher Yvain, a secret that is just between the two of us, Nux smiled. All right, Yvain's face turned red as she nodded, and then, can I ask you something? She questioned. Of course, you're my favorite teacher. You can ask me anything. Why are you keeping this a secret? Nux then told her how his life would be at risk if he was exposed. Yvain was a princess, so with just a few hints she was able to understand everything. She completely agreed with Nux's thoughts. However, she still couldn't understand one thing. But why send you to the war, though? Maturity naturally comes with time. All you have to do is wait. Why the rush? Nux shook his head. With the speed at which my cultivation is growing, Teacher Arvina says that by the time I grow up, I would be too strong and would become arrogant. That would lead to my downfall. Therefore, my maturity needs to catch up with my cultivation, Nux answered, and Yvain nodded in understanding. So, since you were so talented, you need to work extra hard. Is that it? Yvain muttered. Something like that, Nux nodded. I still do not approve of this, though. It is too risky, Yvain was unsure. Don't worry, Teacher Yvain. I am strong. There is no way I would get hurt, Nux smiled. I don't know much. However, in a war, being strong isn't enough. You have to be on your guard all the time. Even your allies might actually be your enemies. You have to be extra careful since you are not part of their army. In the end, even a king stage cultivator would die if his heart is pierced with a sword, Yvain muttered. Oh ho! Teacher Yvain, are you worried about me? Nux questioned with a playful smile. Huh? What kind of question is that? You are my student. Of course I'm worried about you, Yvain answered without hesitation. However, Nux didn't like that answer. Hey, you are only worried because I am just one of your students? Yvain frowned. I am not just one of your students. I am your favorite student, am I not? I am, right? Oh, that's what you were talking about, Yvain realized. Of course. What did you think? Yvain's face turned redder and turned her back towards Nux. "Nothing. I wasn't thinking about anything." "Mm-hmm. I understand." Nux nodded. "Also," Yvain called, "what is it?" "You are still not my favorite student. However, if you come back alive, I will admit that you are my favorite student," Yvain muttered, and although he couldn't see, Nux was sure that her face was as red as a tomato right now. "Then I will make sure to come back alive," Nux smiled. And then he and Thyra left for the Woods Dynasty.
"Hey you, stop right there. Who are you?" a soldier questioned in a strict tone. "Wearing black in the night while walking towards us? Aren't you two just begging us to capture you? Maybe you two have some sort of fetish." Another soldier laughed. "You two look like a couple," a soldier pointed out. Other soldiers started laughing creepily as they surrounded the two people wearing black-colored skin-tight clothes. "We want to meet your general," the man muttered in a hoarse voice. "I want to meet the queen of our kingdom as well," the soldier laughed. "I want to meet the king." "Tisk, tisk. Why would you even want to meet the king? Queen is a lot better. At least she is pleasant to the eyes. King, on the other hand, would only make you nervous." True. Matthew, I never thought you were such a smart person. I shall follow you from now on." You are a little dumb, but since I am such a generous person, I will allow you." He called him dumb. The soldiers then started laughing. The four reeked of alcohol. Actually, just from their actions alone, it was clear that they were drunk. However, it was normal. They could die any day. They went through a tough battle today, and they also lost a few of their close friends. Alcohol was the only way for them to survive. However, today was their unlucky day. "Hey, you two, how are you going?" Bam! Clash! Thud! A soldier wanted to question something. However, before he could, a punch landed on his face, and his body flew back and landed on a table that the soldiers kept their alcohol on. The three other soldiers looked at the man in black with a blank looks on their faces. This man, he was strong. The three of them quickly sobered up. However, when they tried to look into these two individuals' cultivation, they couldn't sense anything. There were only two ways something like this is possible. First, they weren't cultivators. However, since they sent a beginner-stage cultivator flying with just one fist, this wasn't possible. So the only other possibility left was that these two were incomparably stronger than them. So strong that they couldn't even sense their cultivations. Gulp. The soldiers gulped in fear. "What is happening here?" Soon, however, the soldiers heard their familiar voice, and a big smile appeared on their faces. "Head!" The three of them dashed towards the man who had appeared and pointed at the man who hit the other soldier. "Head, these two are picking a fight with us, and they hit him for no reason." The head then looked at the two people in front of him, and a solemn look appeared on his face. These two, they were expert stage cultivators, someone who could easily get the rank of deputy general in the army. They were strong. However, this didn't mean that they could just barge into their camp and beat their soldiers. "Go and call Deputy General," the head ordered. "Deputy General?" the soldier stuttered. "Do it fast. We don't have much time." The head rushed. He couldn't raise his voice. However, his desperation was clear. Even he was scared right now. He, an advanced stage cultivator, was standing against two expert stage cultivators. Of course, he would be scared. Honestly, it was praiseworthy that he hasn't passed out in fear. "Hey, you two, how are you going?" "We are not here to fight, else you would have died already." Suddenly, the woman in black muttered in an emotionless voice. "Yes, we just want to meet your general." The man nodded as well. "We can't just let anyone meet the general. You have to tell us who you are, but seeing that you're covering your face, I don't think you will tell us anything." The head muttered. The two of them turned silent.
I have called for Deputy General. You should talk with him. I don't have the authority to do something like this." Seeing that these two had turned silent, the head panicked and clarified himself, and only when the two people nodded could he calm his racing heart. Time passed, and soon the Deputy General came. He was a 2-meter-tall man with a large, muscular build. He wore a dark green army uniform and had a strict-looking face. He had a fierce aura around him, and as soon as other soldiers saw him, they saluted with a respectful on their faces. "Deputy General!" The Deputy General's eyes then fell on the two people wearing black-colored clothes, and he frowned. "Who are you?" "I want to meet your general." The man, however, didn't care if the one in front of him was Deputy General or whatever. He just wanted to meet the general. "Oh, so you're so big of a trash that any random person has the same cultivation as you?" The Deputy General turned silent. The other soldiers could see that his body was trembling, and there was a vein that had popped up on his head. He was angry. However, the man in front of him had a great point. There are no random expert stage cultivators in this world. These two were definitely not normal. However, "I can't let you meet the general." The Deputy General shook his head. "Why?" the man questioned. "I do not know you. What if you are an assassin that wants to harm our general?" "And I thought that the king stage cultivators are strong. Turns out they're just people afraid of losing their life to people who are weaker than him." The woman standing behind the man chuckled. The Deputy General looked at the woman and narrowed his eyes. "Just let us meet the general. It is not like we can harm him." The Deputy General then looked at the two of them, and after thinking for a while, he nodded. "All right, let me talk to the general."
The general has agreed. "Follow me." The Deputy General returned and muttered in a strict tone. The black-clothed man looked at the woman, and his golden eyes shined. "You did a good job, my love. It's so easy to handle people with big egos." The woman smiled. "Thyra, you naughty little girl." A smile appeared on the woman's face. Yes, if you guys haven't caught on, the two people who casually entered an army camp were none other than Nux and Thyra. Surprising, right? All right, let's follow this giant. I want to meet the general and get over this. Nux muttered. Thyra nodded, and the two of them appeared in front of the largest tent in this area. "General, they are here," the Deputy General muttered. He didn't wait for any response and directly entered the tent. Nux and Thyra followed behind him, and soon, Nux's eyes fell on a woman wearing a black coat sitting on a chair with a leisurely look on her face. No, actually, she did not look leisurely at all. She looked like a wild lioness who was looking at her prey. She was a dangerous woman. And on top of that, she was a beautiful woman with black-red hair, sword-like eyebrows, red eyes that shined ferociously, a straight nose, and a wide smile on her face. The dangerous beauty, a lethal beauty, a beauty that turned Nux on. Right now, Nux was so lost that he even forgot to use the eye of discerning and just continued to burn the sight in front of his eyes and his mind. Thyra, who was standing behind him, noticed his weird actions and clicked her tongue. Then, her eyes fell on the general's chest, and she clicked her tongue again. How the fuck do you fight with those mounds of meat hanging in front of you? Picture in paragraph comments. Thyra didn't like this general at all. She narrowed her eyes, and a smile appeared on her face when she saw the Deputy General, who was still in the tent. Are you sure you're a king stage cultivator? I didn't know that. A king stage cultivators needed the protection of an expert stage cultivator when they faced two unknown expert stage cultivators. Thyra chuckled. The general's eyes moved. She looked at Thyra from the head to toe, as if she was scanning her, and once she was satisfied, she looked at the Deputy General and ordered, "You can leave." The Deputy General didn't say anything and left. The army had only one rule: do not disobey or question your superior's decision. You can give them suggestions. However, once you are ordered to do something, you have to do it without any complaints. A good soldier is the one who listens to the orders, not the one who comes up with different strategies and acts as if he is smarter than everyone. The Deputy General left. Seeing that, Thyra chuckled again. How impulsive. I only needed a few words in order to make you do what I wanted. Are you sure you are the general? If the deputy general was here, he would have shouted in anger. However, the general was different. A beautiful smile appeared on her face, and she questioned, "Do you know why he was here? Isn't it obvious?" "It was because he wanted to protect you." Thyra answered. "Indeed." The general nodded. "He wanted to protect me. And do you know why I ordered him to leave?" Thyra narrowed her eyes. The general's smile widened, and a crazed look appeared on her face. "That is because I concluded that you can't harm me even if you were given 100 chances. You are too weak to do that." Thyra's face twitched when she heard those words. She then narrowed her eyes dangerously and muttered, "I see. Not only are you easy to manipulate, you are dumb as well. Why am I not surprised?" The general just smiled and didn't say anything. Thyra, however, did not like that. "Trust me, if I was an assassin, your head would have been rolling on the floor," she challenged with a smirk. The general's red eyes shined, and she muttered, "Try it then. As I said, you are dumb. What kind of assassin attacks when you order them to? Our speciality is sneak attacks. Yeah, that's what rats do. Attacking from behind. Not that it will matter. I'm positive that someone like you won't be able to harm me no matter how many sneak attacks you use." The general smiled. Thyra smiled back. Nux, who was looking at the two women smiling at each other, knew better than anyone that this wasn't a pleasant environment. He had to intervene, otherwise things can get out of hand. Suddenly, a small smile appeared on his face. "Girls, you two need to calm down and get along with each other. You two will be sisters in the future, after all." "Huh?" The general frowned. "What do you mean?" she questioned as she narrowed her eyes and looked at Nux. Nux smiled as he then, through the badge Arvina, gave to him towards the general and muttered, "You two will be fighting a war together, so of course, you should get close and treat each other like sisters in order to cooperate well. Isn't that right?" Nux smiled brightly. Thyra, however, didn't share his smile. The general may have been fooled by Nux's words. However, she knew what Nux was talking about. That man has already set his eyes on this woman. Thyra knew that she would get another new sister soon, and this sister, she will join the ranks of Edda, Felberta, Lane, and Allura. TSK. Suddenly, Thyra heard the general's voice. She turned around, and then she noticed that the general was scanning Nux with interest. Soon, the general's smile widened, and she questioned, "Since we're going to fight, we should treat each other as sisters, right?" Indeed. Nux nodded his head in agreement. "Then with that logic, should I treat you as my little brother?"
"Then with that logic, should I treat you as my little brother?" The general chuckled. Pfft! Thyra couldn't help but laugh out loud, especially when she saw Nux's reaction. He was looking at the general with a deadpan look on his face. He even forgot to blink. He was at a loss of words. In the end, Nux could only show a smile and shook his head. "I was just joking. You don't have to take me seriously. We are fighting a war. There is no need to become brothers and sisters just for that." Nux quickly refused and denied his own words. The general chuckled as she glanced at Nux, and then a seductive smile appeared on her face. "You are an interesting guy." Nux noticed that her red eyes were smiling when she said those words, and riding her momentum, a smile appeared on his face as well. "It would be great if you remove this mask of yours. I want to see your face," the general muttered, and Nux nodded his head. However, just as he was about to remove his mask, he stopped. Nux's eyes then fell on Thyra before they returned to the general again, and he smiled. "Easy to manipulate my ass," Nux muttered to Thyra. That was close. Thyra nodded her head as well. The general was different from what she imagined. The woman nearly made Nux do what she wanted with just her words alone. Thyra could feel it. This woman was dangerous. Of course, Nux could see that as well. However, he was not planning to back off. Are you that interested in seeing my face?" Nux questioned. "I am," the general nodded. "I won't show it to you." Nux shook his head. Why, are you hiding something? The general questioned. No, there's a problem with my face. Is it an injury or a scar? Or is it a scary birthmark? Actually, you don't have to worry. No matter what it is, it won't bother me. As a general, I have seen lots of things. The face being completely disfigured so badly that it looked horrendous isn't something that can bother me. So you don't have to worry because I'm sure your face will be better than the things I have seen. The general smiled. Ah, I think you misunderstood. My face is of course a lot better than anything you have ever seen, and this is the problem. Wherever I go, women would fall for my charm. Therefore, I cover my face. You should be careful as well, General. Don't be too curious, else you might fall in love with me. Nux smiled. The general blinked a few times and didn't have any answer to that. She has seen a lot of things, but this man's shamelessness is on an entirely different level. Of course, you don't have to worry. If by chance you did fall for my charm, I will take the full responsibility. However, I would prefer we take things slowly, get to know each other well. Not by face, but by our pure and innocent souls. Let our lovely hearts connect with each other. Only then can we build a strong, healthy, and long-lasting relationship. Nux smiled brightly. And again, the general didn't have any answer to what he just said. Thyra, who saw the general's face, smiled. Yes, this is how things usually go by. Nux isn't the one who loses the words battle. He's the one who stands on top. He is the winner. The general just took him by surprise for the first time. She ain't winning anymore. Thyra nodded herself, satisfied by this situation. The general didn't know what she was thinking. However, since she had no answers to Nux's shameless words, she decided to change the topic. So, Arvina Skyfall sent you too? She questioned. Nux smiled meaningfully, and then he nodded. Yes, she did. And you two are here to assist us in this war? The general questioned. Indeed. Nux nodded again, and at the same time his golden eyes shined brightly and the general's information appeared in front of him. Name, Ember Windstar. Age, 152. Mana cultivation, King. Body cultivation, Mortal. Race, Human. Occupation, General of the Woods Dynasty. Talent, High. LVL, 61. HP 740 out of 740, MP 1450 out of 1450, STR 72, AGL 78, VIT 74, STM 73, INT 145, DEF 75. Ember, huh? She is indeed hot, Nux chuckled inwardly. I am glad that Arvina sent someone here to help me. However, I still cannot accept you two into the army. Suddenly, Ember muttered. Why? Nux frowned. I do not know who you are, and you two are unwilling to reveal your faces. This will create problems, since you won't be able to get along with other soldiers. A war cannot be won with personnel strength alone. Also, you two are too strong. Other than me, there are only 4 people here who can go against you. However, even they might not be able to defeat you. It won't be easy to add you into the army, since I won't be able to find a leader capable enough to lead you, and I of course won't be able to make you two leaders. Ember shared her problems. However, Nux was already ready for something like this. This won't be a problem. We are hiding our identities for certain reasons. However, you have seen Arvina Skyfall's badge. You may not trust us, but you trust her, correct? We are someone close to her, so we won't betray you. Also, you may be a king stage cultivator, and expert stage cultivators like us might be nothing in your eyes. However, if we go to the battlefield, we will be a tremendous help. I don't think you should disregard us like that," Nux muttered. Thyra stepped up as well. "And as for you adding us to your army, I have a solution." "What is it?" Ember turned towards Thyra and questioned. "Make us the leaders."
Make us the leaders. Ember Fronet. Didn't I tell you just now? I can't make you two leaders. It is not easy. No matter how strong you are, other soldiers won't follow your lead because they don't know anything about you. They are risking their lives in this war. However, this does not mean that they will just throw away their lives like that. They are humans, not puppets. Thyra, however, shook her head. I never said that you need to place any soldiers under our command. What's the point of being a leader then? Ember couldn't understand her thoughts. Look, I will be honest. This will be our first time fighting a war. We have no prior experience. We have stayed in Blood Hill Wilderness for a month and have fought against countless beasts. However, we haven't fought any humans on such a large scale. We are newbies, and if you place soldiers under us, they will lose their lives. We, of course, do not want that. However, at the same time, we, as expert stage cultivators, cannot be under the command of someone weaker than us. Therefore, the best solution will be to make us the leaders without any soldiers under us. This way, no soldier would lose his or her life because of us, and at the same time, no leader would place us in their plans for the upcoming war. Thyra explained. Then what are you going to do? Ember questioned as she narrowed her eyes. We will just join any random squad when the war will start, and once we are close enough, we will assassinate the enemy leaders. Thyra smiled. N0L. You will assassinate enemy leaders in the middle of the war? How will you do it? Don't you usually assassinate someone when they are not on guard? Ember raised her eyebrows. Assassination is all about taking the opponent by surprise. Don't worry, we can do it. I promise to bring you at least 5 enemy heads when I return. Thyra answered. EW, why would you do that? That is so gross. I didn't know you were. A mindless brute. Ember then turned towards Nux and smiled seductively. You should stay away from brutes like her. Then, Ember stood up, walked towards Nux, and placed her finger on his chin. Then lifting his chin up, their eyes matched, and Ember whispered in a seductive voice. There are many, much better options out there. All you have to do is look around. But Thyra was quick to move. She slapped away Ember's hand and stood in front of Nux. How shameless, she muttered. Ember just smiled and looked at Nux. We will meet again, very soon. SS sure. Nux stuttered. MHM, I am looking forward to me, Mr. Golden Eyes. Ember chuckled inwardly, finding Thyra's reaction amusing. She was doing all this to tease her, after all. Of course, Nux's stuttering was cute as well. All in all, she could feel that she would spend quite an amazing time with these two here. We'll be taking our leave now. Thyra muttered. You can leave, but why not leave Mr. Golden Eyes here? I want to talk to him. Privately. Embev Smunilv. No, I won't allow you to do that, you bitch. If you want to talk, do it in front of me. Thyra shouted in anger. I don't think you want to hear our talks. I want to talk about some private matters. Embev Smunilv. You two don't even know each other. What private matters do you have to talk about? Oomph, oomph. Thyra snorted. Then she grabbed Nux's hand and started walking outside the tent. That's why I wanted to talk to him, to get to know him better. Won't it be better if he and I strengthen our relationship? How do you not understand my pure intentions? Ember questioned with a dramatically sad look on her face. Thyra, however, did not stop and left the tent with Nux. Where are you going? Mr. Golden Eyes, meet me later. As they walked out of the tent, Nux and Thyra heard Ember's words. He won't, Thyra answered, and then she walked away. Nux, who was following behind her, looked at him with a small smile on his face. You do realize that she is doing this to tease you, correct? Thyra didn't stop and continued walking. Of course I do. She nodded and then she continued. Whatever she said about spending time with you and all that, it was all for the sake of teasing me. She wants to see my jealous face. However, What would happen if I show her what she wants? Thyra questioned with a smile. What? Nux questioned. Someone like her would want to tease me more and more and more. Thyra's smile widened. Wait, Nux realized. Do you finally get it now? The more she would want to tease me, the bolder her actions would get, and the more she will advance towards you. All on her own. It would be easier for you to seduce her after that. Thyra smiled. Oh, you're doing this for me? But I thought you didn't like her. Nux questioned. Well, I don't exactly hate or like her. She is strong. It will help you, and it will push others in the group to train more. I like that. However, she has those mounds of fat on her chest. TSK. She will join Allura and the others. TSK. Isn't that fat useless? Thyra complained. Nux used his right to remain silent. Of course, in the end, it doesn't really matter. I know you well enough to foresee where this will end. You have already set you. There is no way she would escape. I'm just speeding up the process. However, you better not forget about my rewards, got it? Thyra warned with a seductive smile on her face. Suddenly, Nux picked Thyra in his arms and dashed towards the jungle. All right then, let's start with your rewards, shall we? He questioned with a smile. Shouldn't we look around the army camp a little before doing that? Thyra questioned. They have just arrived here after all. We could do it later. For now, let's try having sex in the woods while we are in Woods Dynasty.
Where have you two been? I was looking for you. The deputy general questioned in his usual strict tone. We were busy with some stuff, Nux answered with a smile on his face. The deputy general narrowed his eyes, since he didn't like this vague answer. However, in the end, he just sighed and continued. Whatever, I'm here to tell you that your tent is ready. Follow me, I'll show you where it is. All right, thank you for your work. Nux nodded, and then he and Thyra started following the deputy general. I talked with the general. She told me that you two don't know much about the army and war, so let me tell you a few important things. While the three of them were walking, the deputy general started. We appreciate your efforts. Nux nodded. A small smile appeared on the deputy general's face, and he continued. First, let me start with the soldier rankings within the army. The first is a soldier, a normal soldier. They are usually apprentice or beginner stage cultivators. Then comes the head soldier, or a head. They are advanced stage cultivators and usually have 10 to 15 soldiers under their command. These 10 to 15 soldiers and the head soldier leading them combined is called a team. The next rank is the unit captain, master stage cultivation, and 25 to 25 units under them. This is called a squad. Next is the squad captain, grand master stage cultivation, and 25 to 25 units under them. This is called a squad. Then comes the deputy generals, expert stage cultivators, and have around 25 to 25 squads under them. Then comes the one leading this huge army, the general, the king stage cultivator. She has everything under her control. However, most of the time, she relies on her trusted deputy generals and efficiently manages the whole army. After the ruler of the dynasty, she is the one with the most influence in the Woods dynasty, the deputy general informed with a proud look on his face. Nux nodded his head as he heard this information. This was indeed a little interesting. Thyra, who already knew about all this, since it was similar to how the army in the Scotty kingdom worked, didn't have many changes in her expressions and questioned, "So what is our rank?" I was coming to that topic. The deputy general looked at Thyra and muttered. Thyra nodded, and the deputy general continued. You two are expert stage cultivators, someone who should be deputy generals. However, for the reasons you already know, we can't make you the deputy generals. Therefore, the general has introduced a new, special rank for you two, assistant general. This rank will allow you to roam around the battlefield and do whatever you want. Other than the general herself, no one has the power to command you. so that means we are deputy generals, like you, Nux commented. The deputy general's face twitched and he shook his head. No, you are not deputy general. You are assistant generals. Isn't that the same thing? We have the same status after all, Nux smiled. The deputy general clenched his fists in annoyance. No, we do not have a similar status. Although I cannot command you to, unlike you, I have full power to order any other soldier whose rank is lower than mine. You, on the other hand, can only ask for assistance from anyone who is not the general or deputy general, and if it forces them to put their lives on the line, they have the right to refuse you. You do not have absolute power to control them. Therefore, you do not have the same status as me. Will the soldiers take their own life if you would order them to? Nux questioned. Huh? Why would I give a crazy order like that? The deputy general frowned. Just answer the question. There is no answer to a stupid question like this. I will never give a stupid order like that. Nux smiled. You can try to deny it, however, I know the answer is no. They won't follow your orders. No matter how I look at it, assistant general and deputy general are the same. Nux smiled. The deputy general clenched his fists in annoyance. This man is too irritating. In the end, he decided to not respond to his words and continued walking. Nux just smiled and didn't say anything. He was really enjoying his stay in this army camp. Thyra, who saw everything, couldn't help but shake her head. This deputy general. She found him a little pitiful. However, she won't deny it. She was enjoying this as well. A few minutes later, the three of them appeared in front of an empty space, and the deputy general smiled. You can live here. Have a nice day. Nux looked around again, and then he turned towards the deputy general. Are your eyes working fine? Where is the tent you're talking about? He questioned. Huh? Tent? Did you think we would arrange a set tent for you as well? This is the army, not your home where you could play around. Arrange everything on your own, the deputy general smiled. Nux raised his eyebrow, and then a smile appeared on his face. Hey, you. Yes, you. Come here. He looked around and ordered a soldier to come here. When the soldier saw that the man calling him was standing with the deputy general, his eyes widened in surprise, and he rushed towards Nux and saluted. Deputy General. Master stage. So you must be a unit captain, Nux muttered. Yes, I am, the soldier nodded. Well, I'm the new assistant general, your superior, and I order you to set our tent here, Nux ordered. Then he turned towards the deputy general and smiled. I can order him to do that, right, Deputy General? The deputy general's face twitched. However, he couldn't do anything about it. Nux indeed had the power to do it. He could only nod. After the soldiers made a tent for Nux and Thyra, he saluted and then left. The deputy general, who was still bitter about what happened before, didn't say anything and left as well. Now only Nux and Thyra were left. Are we going for another round? Nux questioned with a playful smile on his face. Thyra, however, shook her head. Don't forget what we are here for. Huh? There are no wars here, though. Aren't we free till the next battle starts? Nux questioned in confusion. We are not here for war alone. We are here to continue your training. Ah, I thought we would continue my training while we are on the battlefield, Nux muttered. There is no way I would let you enter the battlefield like you are right now, Thyra muttered with a solemn look on her face. Huh? Why not? Nux frowned. You have to get used to killing first. Nux's frown deepened. Killing a human is different than killing a beast, Nux. You cannot enter a war without having prior experience of killing. I can't have you lose your focus just because there is human blood on your face. This will be the second stage of our training, Nux, the path of an assassin. From now on, everything you learn will be from practical experience. Thyra muttered as her eyes shined in determination. Nux smiled, and then he kissed her lips and whispered seductively, "You can do whatever you want with me, my love. I'm all yours." A small blush appeared on Thyra's face. However, it quickly reverted back to normal and her face turned expressionless. Thyra entered her serious mode. "Follow me," she instructed, and turned around. Nux didn't ask where they were going. He just followed his teacher with a small smile on his face. He was looking forward to it. A few minutes later, Nux noticed that they have entered the Woods Dynasty's city. This time they were not using conceal, rather they were using the dark night to hide, just like normal assassins do. Their footsteps were light and made as little sound as possible. Someone who was not perceptive enough would never be able to hear it. In the middle of the night, Nux and Thyra wandered around the silent, deserted streets, and after exploring the entire city, they finally stopped. From the roof of a house, Thyra pointed at the street. Nux looked where she pointed and found two men surrounding a woman. One had covered her mouth, while the other had lifted her legs and was taking her to a deserted alleyway where no one would find them. The woman resisted as fiercely as she could. However, in the end, she couldn't do much against them and was taken away. There, the man finally removed his hand from the woman's mouth, and she shouted with all her might, "Help! Help me!" Panic was clear in her voice. However, the men didn't care about it. The one covering her mouth now held her two hands on the top of her head, while the other one was about to remove her clothes. "Please, don't do this. I have a husband. I'm begging you, don't do it." With tears all over her face, the woman begged. However, the men didn't care and continued to do what they were doing. The man was about to tear open the woman's gown. However, before he could, his world spun. Huh? He noticed that everything had started moving up. Then he glanced at his friend, who was looking at him with his mouth open in shock, and before his friend understood what happened, a dagger pierced his neck as well. The man finally realized he was killed by the one who killed his friend. The world wasn't moving up, it was his head that was falling. And as if confirming his thoughts, his eyes turned heavy, and his consciousness drifted apart. The woman who was about to be raped became pale in horror as she saw a man wearing black-colored clothes standing in front of her. "You did not see anything, is that clear?" the man muttered. The woman blinked a few times. Then she finally realized what had happened. Her eyes shined as she quickly stood up and bowed her head. Thank you. Thank you very much." "Leave." "Yes." The woman then ran away. Few seconds later, she slipped and fell. However, she quickly stood up and continued to run while tumbling away. She was grateful to the man who saved her. However, she was too scared to stay there. Her heart was still beating quickly. She had really avoided a great calamity by hair's breadth. After the woman ran away, Thyra appeared and glanced at Nux with a blank look on her face. "What? You didn't expect me to wait till they removed all her clothes and save her at the last moment, did you? I honestly hate that storyline." Silence. Thyra, however, did not reply and just stared at Nux. "Why are you looking at me like that? Do I look a little too handsome today?" Nux questioned with a playful smile on his face. "Do you not feel anything?" Thyra questioned. Nux's gaze then turned serious. Then he glanced at his hands and shook his head. "I do not." Thyra frowned. "Are you sure you haven't killed before?" "Well, I did kill beasts, but this is my first time killing a human. Maybe it was because I was already prepared for it? That might be the reason why I don't feel anything, right?" Thyra thought about it a little. Then she instructed, "All right, now drag these bodies away and bury them somewhere." Why don't we directly use the storage rings?" "No, I need you to do it without a storage ring." "All right," Nux nodded. Then he grabbed the legs of the two dead bodies. Then he glanced at Thyra. "You're coming?" "I will not come with you. Do it alone." Nux nodded and then left. Then he continued to drag the body, and soon he found a perfect place to bury these two bodies. He started digging the ground, and soon he felt something strange. He had just killed a human. The realization stuck in.